Guys, I got
Hey, you know
backup
what?
today. I swear.
You know what? I mean, Cognito
Guns on deck.
Lord Cognito is all right with his, but you know what I'm saying. But if you got Bot to try to stand for you and say it with his chest, it's only gonna sound like a 13-year-old kid.
Oh,
So you need
and on that note,
That is true.
on that
Give
note,
more
guys,
credit, you know.
yo, guys, can I just let you know that we are live right now? What is up, people?
Let's go.
Welcome to the next podcast. As you can see, off air, man, things have already been going crazy. We have two very special guests tonight. I can't wait to get into the intros. I got a little build up plan for that. Huge shout out to everybody checking out the show right now, getting in early. What is going on, people? You guys know what to do. YouTube does not like to do its job, so I rely on you guys. Can you hit that thumbs up button? Share this out on social media wherever you go to talk games and let people know that we are about to have one of the craziest episodes of season 3 for the next podcast. A bunch of crazy topics tonight, guys, and I got to get into the intros. We are stacked here when it comes to a panel, so I got to get through it quick. I am going to start with our special guest, and this man, I've known him for a while, talked to him in DMs on Twitter. He came out with his official review of Ori and the Will of the Wisps in IronLordGaming.net. And yes, I have the link in the description below. Please welcome for the first time, my brother, Rage.
Thank you for the introduction, man. Happy to be here. I'm very excited to be talking about Ori and Will of the Wisps. Let's get talking, man.
Nice, brother. Yeah, when you said, yeah, man, I got really excited. Like, I knew you were doing the review. I was, like, first in line waiting for that thing to drop, and I can say, honestly, brother, you did not disappoint whatsoever.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you.
Brother, we are going to get into it, man. The spotlight is going to be on you for that, but you get to chime in on everything else as well, man. So thank you for being here. And let me go on to this next guest. And guys, he is no stranger to the realm of neutrality. Every once in a while, the moons align together and two realms converge. You heard Rage. Now, let me introduce my brother, Lord Cognito.
Woo, what's going on, Xbox, man? What's going on, Realm, the next Realm podcast, as we call it today?
Yeah.
Yo, good to be here, man. It's been a minute. You know, I got my LordsOfGaming.net brethren, Rage Virus. We're going to talk that Ori. I'm a fraud like me and Mac. We're going to fraud, but we're going to act like we played for a long time.
I'm severely disappointed.
You are actually going to say it with your chest.
No, really good to be here, man. Haven't been on in a minute. When Xbox threw up the bat signal, I had to come through. So
Nice.
Salute.
Thank you, brother. I hope it feels like, one of those comfy chairs. Whenever you get back in there, you just get nice and comfortable, man. And we got some fire topics to talk about, bro. I can't wait to hear your opinions, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right, so next on the list, now we're going through the usual shenaniganizers. And yes, that's a word, people. I just made it up. Starting off, coming live from the 405, and he's just trying to talk to the intelligent gamers out there. K Mega.
I swear, I'm going to look that word up, and I'm going to find out. I'm going to start calling you the Connecticut's Jesse Jackson. I promise. I don't know, bro. I don't know, but man, it's great to be here, man. We got a full panel. It's going to be lit, man. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate the guests coming by, dropping in, and giving their expertise. And man, I'm ready to get to it, man. Have a lot of fun. Plus, in the background, I'm going to be playing this old school Battlefield Hardline, baby. Let's go.
All right. Well, as we are going on, once we get past the intros and stuff, I need you to look at the show, though, to see the winning gameplay from last week. That's right. Your brother Xbot won. Pulled it out.
You know
brother.
what? Hold on.
Pulled it out, brother.
Now, listen. You pulled it out barely. And that's
because two in a row.
Hold on. You pulled it out barely, but you didn't even actually show my actual gameplay that I gave to you. You played old gameplay and still barely got out of it.
Don't want to open that closet door right now. Guess what, guys? We are moving on. We are moving on. Next on the list. This gentleman is not afraid to share his opinion, and for some rhyme or reason, every single episode, somehow he finds a way to veer a topic straight into gears. I don't know how he does it. My brother Crispy.
What is up, guys? This is gonna be great. Hashtag great. Yeah, and you know what? We are stacked. There's so many people that you just need to move on to the next person. Let's go, Xbot.
Nice.
Come on.
All right, brother. Next on the list, he is a fan of those military shooters, but I suggest you guys ask him what he has been playing this week. It may surprise you. My brother Predator.
Yo, what's up? I was playing the Division.
That's it? Nothing else, huh?
He went third person for a second.
Yeah, I played about 4 hours of that, and then the rest of my time I spent playing Ori. So, yeah, I don't just play shooters, just for the record.
Oh my God!
Happy to be here. Let's get it going. I know we got a lot of people on the show tonight.
Sir.
So
Yes, sir.
keep it short and sweet.
Next on the list, guys, the lights are flickering right now. You know what that means. It's time to stand up, show that respect, kiss that ring. The Don. Okay.
He's muted.
Wait. You said. Okay, I'm sorry about that. You said earlier not to disrespect yourself and not interrupt yourself. So I am here. Let's go. Bot has got a full
Cock,
channel,
he's
and
such a
he's not going to get through
man.
it. I don't know what he's talking about.
I
He told me,
swear.
don't disrespect him, man. Go.
All right, guys. Next on the list. That's right. There are more, man. This guy has taken his time away from saving the world, and you see what happens to the world when he does this. But we are glad to have him on the panel. My brother, Dark Artemis.
What's up? You know what I like about Crispy Bomb?
What?
He sounds like you, but his balls have actually dropped.
Wow.
Oh my God!
There you go.
Yo,
There
he
you go.
sounds-
Someone page the ER. Someone page the ER.
Crispy sounds like he smoked as many cigarettes as I used to before I quit like 2.5 years ago, brother.
Yeah, but your voice never changed, buddy.
It never
Hey, bro.
Yeah.
The old lady in the chat saying, damn. Yeah. You did that boy dirty, man. You did it dirty.
Otter doesn't give two fucks, man. I swear, yeah.
No.
Oh.
It's all in good fun. If you guys were upset about it, I'd let you you could let me know.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Upset?
Like
What?
I've played Halo with you, brother. I know who has
I know.
the skill between me and you. So I'm just gonna move
That is
on
true.
from that,
You
man.
do have the skill. I'll give you that one.
Hey, man, that was 3 years ago, so I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, well, guys, we got to get into it. People are
It's
waiting.
gonna be this type of show tonight.
People are waiting for the topics, man. We got to get into this, and I'm gonna start with something that's actually it's gonna make Dark very happy. All right, a game was released this past week. It's a sequel to a game that he has played and he has absolutely loved. The game is called Neo 2. And we got to get in on here. Who on the panel has played Neo 2?
I wish. I played the first one. I really want to get in on the second one though.
I knew it was gonna be with crickets.
Nobody played.
Except for me.
Nobody picked
Just
this up
me.
whatsoever.
Yeah, it's okay. It's
Didn't
okay.
pick it
You take the floor, Dark. It's all right.
There's only
Yeah,
so
no.
much time, man.
All
No,
right,
I get it, man. There's only so much time, only so many games to play. Yeah.
Well, you
I
played
get
it,
that.
right, Dark?
Yeah, of course, man. I played. it.
Brother, you know
I've
what we
been
do
playing
here, man. You gotta give us the rundown, man. What do you think about the game? I hear it is insanely difficult. Let me know if you think if it's more difficult than the first one.
It is.
It is.
It
All
is.
right.
It's a lot more difficult than the first one, but it's more. I would say more fun than the first one. Like there's more fun to be had with this one than the first. It's definitely not like Souls. Like if you're going into it thinking it's going to be like Dark Souls or Bloodborne, something like that, do not pick it up because
Well,
it's not that type of game.
It's made by Team
It's-
Ninja, right?
Agreed.
Right. It's made by Team Ninja. It's made by the same people who did Ninja Gaiden. they went in, and this is basically like a mixture of Ninja Gaiden, uh, Dark Souls, and Diablo. That's basically what it is,
Damn.
and it's a lot of fun, but it takes a lot of time to really figure out what kind of materials you need, what type of armor you need, what type of weapons you want to use. You could spend about 30 minutes looking through your inventory of armor,
Mm.
uh, just looking at what defenses you have, the types of magic you have. It's really in depth, and plus this time around, you get a to be able to create a character instead of in the first one where you were a preset character named William. Um, and so in this one, you get to create your own character. The the first level alone is tough. Like, I mean, if you're going into it and start trying to play it like
Oh, where'd he go?
stuff,
Okay.
you're not gonna enjoy playing Neo 2. You really definitely have to. It's gonna take you a while to really get your grasp on how the game plays.
Well, I heard
It-
I heard that when you get to the bosses, like even if you figure out what, because I hear that there's always a
Yeah.
counter for one of their attacks, but even when you figure them out, like one wrong move and you're toast
Uh-huh.
anyway.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's absolutely true. Like, you can figure out every detail, everything that you want, but you're still gonna have, and
Oh,
it's not gonna. What happened is
You cut it out a little bit.
You're cutting out a little bit. You're like you're not
Yeah.
gonna have.
It's that wall
He's a
that
little
you still have in your
constipated, okay?
house.
Yeah, it's that wall that they built. But it's a lot of fun. I would suggest, if you're in,
Oh, he in the bushes again.
definitely pick it up. But if you're not into it, then definitely, yeah, don't even think about picking it up. Don't even put it in your library of games at all. Like, it's
Well,
gonna punish you.
The first
I
one.
don't hear any enjoyment. Like I'm
That's
just
what I
saying.
was thinking. I'm like, holy
Yeah.
crap!
Oh,
Yeah.
There's a lot to enjoy about it. It's just figuring out how to get to that point to where you can enjoy it, and that's by putting in stuff for skills, and upgrading, and grinding a lot. It's a lot of grinding. You're going to be grinding quite a bit, especially in the beginning. Not like throughout the whole game, but like right in the beginning, you're definitely going to be grinding. But it is, would say,
Man, that
maybe
government internet.
wait for a sale on it,
Right.
for that
I'm
one.
hearing.
What about the continuity with the first one? Is there any continuity? I know you said you're not gonna
No,
do
it's a
front
prequel
character.
to
Okay.
to it. So
Gotcha.
there's not really anything that you have to know about the first one in order to play it.
Yeah, because I think with the first one, his name was William when he was a ninja.
Yeah.
It was kind of. I always laughed at that. That was kind of funny. But
Well, it's based off of the guy who was the Last Samurai.
Yes.
Like Tom Cruise's character in The Last Samurai. It's just like that.
Shout out to Ray G4.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. One thing before I move on, Artemis, like I heard you. What separates this from the original? I know you said it's a prequel, but what kind of like advancements have you seen that it takes the original and just adds more to it? You know what I'm saying? What will get like people into buying and playing this game in terms of advancements from the first one?
I think the customization and being able to, kind of create your own experience this time around, instead of having an experience where it was kind of already there. It feels like more of your story this time around.
Okay.
And plus there's so much depth in how you create your character, and how the weapons work, that you definitely have to spend time figuring that stuff out. And I think that right there is different from the first one. I mean, the first one did have that as well, but I think it's more in depth this time around.
All right. Anybody on the panel planning on picking this game up?
No.
I
No.
thought about it
Absolutely.
until he just told me.
Until I
Oh.
just told you.
Yeah.
That's where I was going with this. After hearing Dark's like description of the game and everything, and I know there's a couple people on the panel who played the first one, right?
Yeah.
Right. I got the first one. I got it. I double dipped
Yep,
on
I
it.
played it.
All right. So nobody like there's nobody that's planning on picking up the second one. I mean, Dark
I will
said.
pick
Oh,
it
I
up.
definitely do.
I'll pick
I
it
definitely
up.
gonna pick it up eventually. I'm a big Dark Souls fan myself. Like hell, my gamer picture, it's a Dark Souls 1.
Right, exactly.
So I'm all over that type of gameplay. I'm all over that style. Like I love Sekiro. I love Dark Souls 1 through 3, Demon Souls, Bloodborne. I've played all those games. I
Dude,
played
I
any
think
other
even
game
if you like
on
Ninja
the
Gaiden.
side about it.
I
Oh,
love
man, it's
Ninja
just
Gaiden, dude.
So good.
Yeah.
Ninja
Right,
Gaiden's fantastic
That's
too.
where I want games to go back to. I understand that there's this new niche for these type of Dark Soul-ish type of games, Bloodborne and all of those. Sekiro is as far as I'm going to go with it. If this was on the same level with Sekiro, I'm definitely going to wait till it's in the bargain bin. I want to get back to the old hack and slash type of games where you got a challenge, but yet it's not to where it's controls or anything else. Or are you using regular buttons, or are you using the shoulder buttons like you did in the first one?
Regular buttons.
Okay.
It's regular buttons.
Okay.
But that's the thing. Like with this one, I feel like think of the hardest Ninja Gaiden you've ever played, and kind of think about that one, and it's probably right around those lines of like difficulty.
I mean,
That's not bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not too bad.
That's not too bad. Yeah, I can deal with that.
It is challenging because you have to it takes a little while to figure it out because you have to know exactly what you're doing with each weapon and each piece of armor.
Yeah.
That's why it takes a while for you to figure that out.
Real question. So is it just really challenging, or are you getting slow?
Oh,
shots.
I'm just saying.
Answer,
it sounds
Dark.
like you're getting a little
Come
slow.
on, Dark.
It's not. You kind of want to be slow, to be honest. Like I'm not even kidding with you. You want to kind of be slow in it because you're not. You're gonna. There's dudes that are gonna just like keep attacking you, and your ki, like which is your stamina, is gonna go down so quick that it's almost impossible to.
The whole stamina bar. I don't
But
like
also,
that gameplay.
But it also depends on the kind of weapons you use too. Like right now, the weapons that I'm using are probably a lot more difficult than something that you guys might use.
What are you trying to say?
It just really depends.
He called us simpletons right then and there.
No, I'm not.
He took like one look at me. He's like, "You better not use the nunchucks." Yeah, that's just beyond your ability, there, man.
There is no nunchucks, but okay.
Oh damn. Oh, I'll pass then. I love nunchucks. Yo, Rage. Again, with the name, everything like that. You saw the icon and all that good stuff. Is it just that you're that type of gamer who likes that punishment and the reward, and that's why you're gonna get it? Like, what is leaning you towards playing Neo 2?
Well, there's a big thing about those type of games that I really like, and like you kind of mentioned, is the reward and satisfaction from overcoming an adversity that you think is basically impossible at first, but you keep trying again and again and again, and that elation, that feeling you get once you actually beat that boss and continue on into the next area, it's exciting, it's invigorating, it makes you motivated, it makes you want to go forward. It does. It's almost like a drug, it's like a hook. Almost sort of thing, and that's something that Miyazaki is very integral. He's very almost anal about in his games because he designs his games to be like that. And it's not because the games are impossible; they are hard for sure, but they're designed to be.
Did we lose everybody?
No, you biting a little bit, man.
They're
okay.
My bad.
It's all good, brother.
But yeah, it's designed to make you a better gamer. It's designed to make you feel good about yourself and be like, okay, nothing's impossible. Just go do it. Keep trying, because once you do it, you're done. It's over with, and you can keep moving forward, and you'll be stronger and better than you were before.
Because once you get
there's a
to a
lot of
certain
things to it.
point, it's once you get to a certain point in the game, you're gonna feel like a badass. You're gonna feel like something that's
now
powerful
that's something
enough
that,
to.
that needed to be said right there because
Right,
like,
right. I should have said that in the
absolutely.
beginning. I'm sorry, my bad. I should have said that in the beginning. But it is something that, like, this kind of game is the type of game where once you get the hang of everything, you are a badass and you do wreck. There are
Yeah.
bosses that you're gonna just completely obliterate, but then there's also going to be bosses that you're going to have a challenge with. It's just that type of game.
Oh, absolutely.
Nice. Cognito, what do you think, brother? Is this something that you're going to invest in, you're going to get into, or are you thinking about?
I think the problem right now is just the timing, man. It just came out in a bad time for me gaming wise. Obviously, Ori2 is here. Obviously, you know we big Destiny fans, and I'm a Trials of Osiris.
Trials, baby.
Bro, I got my Egyptian Pharaoh gear back. I'm trying to be a king right now. So listen, I will get it, but it will definitely be like kind of what Megan said. Like I'm gonna have to wait for that sale. I'm gonna need that little bargain basement deal right now. I don't know if I can get them to 60 right now because I just don't have the time investment right now for it.
All right,
very understandable.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I like what Rage was saying about like the difficulty and stuff like that because like we're gonna move on to another game that has released recently, and it's a game that I think a lot more people in the chat will really kind of get into. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is out. People are playing it. People are loving it. We have an official reviewer of the game here. For lordsofgaming.net, and I gotta say, brother, again, fire review. You can see the love of just playing games in your review, and I love how you said where you came from, not necessarily being, a platforming type gamer and stuff like that, man. But the review is awesome, yo. Rage, why don't you break down what you thought about the game? I know there are a couple technical issues as well, and then we can spread it out to the rest of the panel and get this cracking. And for people who want to check out the review, the link is in the description below, by the way, so you can check it out for yourself as my brother Rage is talking. So Rage, go ahead, man. Ori2 is what I call it to keep it short. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it's good, man. Like just plain and simple, it's a fantastic game. And by the way, thank you very much for providing the link for my review in the comments there. Very much appreciated. I hope everybody goes checks it out. I put a lot of time into it.
Yes, you did. Yes, you
man,
did.
what can I say about Ori2? What can I say?
Well, first off, was this your first?
It is just a.
Was this your first game review? Rage.
No, this is not my first
Okay.
game review. It's my first embargoed review, but I've reviewed multiple titles before in the past.
Okay.
Usually at the time, it's very difficult to get early access codes for reviews, especially for high-profile reviews like this. I was very, very lucky to get a Xbox Canada PR contact only weeks before for Ori Will of the Wisps, and thankfully it's going to continue on past that. But always beforehand, I've had to wait till launch day to play a game, and then I'd had to sit down and grind day after day after day. Like, I've reviewed titles like The Division, Division 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Origins, big titles that have to sit and put massive hours into, and it's painstaking. So get an early access code, and it's phenomenal. It really, really helps.
All right, so from the game.
So let's see here.
Yeah,
Ori.
Get into like visuals, the gameplay mechanics. Things you like, things you didn't like. Let people know like how you felt about the game, brother.
Well, the first standout thing, of course, there's two big standout things. Our art design, of course, is always phenomenal, and then the other big thing that I really liked is the combat change. I like the changes of where you get perks and you get skills. I like how it's not this ball of flame that shoots out these balls to kind of auto hit a target. You don't actually have to have some skill. You have this like little sword ability, or if you don't like the little sword, you can use this hammer ability or a multitude
Mjolnir.
of
I
other
call it
ones
Mjolnir,
to
brother.
suit your playstyle. Mjolnir? That's a good name for it. That thing is sweet. I love that thing. It just destroys enemies.
Hell yeah.
But I like how it's able to allow you to adjust to your game's play style. Like there's that basic standard platformer, but for combat, you play the way you want to, the way it's easy for you. The addition of little side characters into the world really expands it. Like one thing I was telling the guys in my podcast group, the Gaming Perspective, the Blind Forest feels like a prologue, a short story to what you actually end up playing in Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a massive door opening into a world that you didn't think was really there before, but now that you know, you're like, okay, I need to know more. I want to learn more. I want to see what else is out there. And they designed it to where it feels large, but not too large. It transitions well. It has fun, vibrant, unique areas, and it plays from a nice, lightful, playful tones to nice and dark tones. So there's lots of good aspects on gameplay wise, mechanically wise, the way it's designed. It's phenomenal. There were some technical issues. Oddly enough, I almost think they're kind of worse afterwards from
Yeah, I was
launch.
gonna say,
I've been seeing some people getting some really bad issues.
I'm still dealing with some freezing and stuff like that at points. So like, you know, I know they came out with the day one patch. Yeah.
Yeah, like, okay, here, let me tell you what I was dealing with before the day one patch. So I was dealing with those frame issues, those slight freezes, but not as often as I am now. There was a slight save issue, and then some issues with some backgrounds not loading in. But other than that, that was really it. It wasn't too bad at all. But now it's really kind of like, okay, that background's fine, it's smooth, the colors are better, the HDR is working even better now. But this isn't working, and now people are getting stuck, and all these other little things. Music audio is cutting out, and it's weird. It's weird.
See, I didn't get all those issues. I only had one time where I had to restart the game because it kept like it would go and freeze, go and freeze, go and freeze, go and freeze,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yo, I'm not even dealing with this. There were points in times where it looked like it was frozen, and I stopped and I waited a few seconds, and then you know the game kicked back in, stuff like that. I mean, when it comes down to it, you know, some people are going to have these issues. Some people are going to be able to play the game all the way through and not see it. We saw it with like Gears and other games that have come out this entire generation. But you know, over here, and I know, you know, Iron Lords as well. We talk about the good and the bad. You know, when it comes down to it, we are here to inform the gamer out here. Now,
Absolutely.
Rage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread it across the panel, and we're just going to have a discussion. I want to hear what other people have to say about this. Lord Cognito, I don't want to get him on the fraud and tip like K Mega. So
He's already there, man.
I'm gonna let him chime in when he like feels like he can and stuff like that. I am very interested to hear what Predator has to say about this, because you know, with talking with Pred for so long in games, I know, you know, Division 2, you know, a lot of those type games he really gets into. Pred, you've been playing Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Why don't you let us know, man, your experience? What do you think about this platformer?
So the bad first, like he was saying, there were some stuttering issues. The crazy thing is, like, the only issues I actually ran across were on Xbox, because I played both on Xbox and PC, right? So on the Xbox side, it seemed like there was a lot of stuttering, some frame rate issues. It kind of, you know, it would just freeze. Like you come out of a scene and the screen would freeze, like at a critical moment where you're trying to time a jump when you really need it, and it was just pissing me off. So I started off on PC. I tried it on Xbox. I heard people complaining about it, and it's true. There were some issues. I went back to PC. And I was fine after that. I didn't have any issues on the PC port of it. So that part is absolutely true. I love the game. I put a lot of time into it. I'm still working on the little time trials right now. I think I put in almost 25 hours, if I'm not mistaken. Just on the
Good man.
You know, and I beat everything. I've got 100% on all the maps. I've got everything's unlocked except for maybe a few achievements that I have no desire to try and do, like that. You know, they'll complete it in 4 hours and do it without dying. That's not going to happen.
I want those titles, brother. I
put my
that,
stats on my
man.
Twitter, what I did when so far anyway, but like I died like 600 times in this game. It's this, like just get used to that shit. So like, but yeah, it's an in-depth story. I really like the gameplay mechanics of it and all the different abilities you have, and some of them I didn't even use. I'll be honest with you, I didn't use most of them. The ones I used, even though I unlocked them all, there are some places where you have to use a certain ability, but it's like far and few in between. Like the what's the hammer that you called it?
I call it Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
Yeah. There's
Thor's
something you have to
hammer
do
right
to
there.
unlock something. Like there's still some bugs in there too. Like it still has like a question mark on one of the fight little areas you have to do for whatever reason. Still there.
The shrines.
Yeah, the shrine, and then I have even though I had the achievement for having everything unlocked, completed everything. I still show that I had to find like 3 or 4 orbs or something like that. I'm like, okay, where the fuck are they? Because they're not showing up all that. I have my max. He's maxed out with everything as far as like health and power and stuff like that. But it's still showing I need 3 or 4, and I'm like, okay, where the fuck are they? And then so I had to beat the game twice, right? Like the boss fight, I had to do it again for whatever reason. I have no idea why. Even though I beat it and I got the achievement for completing it on my screen, it was still showing that it was still there. Like I still had to go complete. It was still a task, so I had to go back and fight the boss again to get it, and then everything cleared up. But once you go through it, and I mean, it's an amazing game. It's don't let the issues with the stuttering and stuff affect you or piss you off. I mean, like they're
absolutely not. They're in the grand scheme of things. Sorry to cut you off. They're so small. Like they're such minor things in comparison, right?
And it doesn't happen all the time. Like I'll go to the same area and not have a problem. It's a weird quirk. I don't know what to call it, but great story. I mean,
it's a bug, it's a glitch. They call it exactly what it is, brother. And the thing about it is, whenever it happened, it like I said, I did restart my game once. That was the worst point. That was the low point when it came to any of these glitches. Other than that, I never got frozen over a jump or anything. So I feel bad for you on that, Pred. One thing I will say, one thing I noticed right off the bat is the speed of Ori. Now, Predator, you played Ori in the Blind Forest, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like the crispness of your movement in Will of the Wisps, he feels like he's twice as fast, man. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, he feels. I have to go back and play Ori 1 and see the difference, but he does feel fast. Sometimes there's some things I don't want to spoil it, but there's certain abilities that that you do. Fuck it, I'll say it. Like the sand stuff that you do when you kind of go burrowing through the sand. Sometimes it seems like the controls are a little off, and I try to time something properly, and it doesn't work. Or I'm trying to turn and he doesn't turn as fast as I want to. But I think that's part of that mechanic of that ability. It's not meant to be like that. But I always fuck up that jump coming out of the sand, and I need that to work. And a lot of the deaths I do are because of I don't know what button to hit, because there's the trigger, the bumper, the trigger on one side, then A button, B button. I don't know which one to hit, or I assign an ability to another button that I wasn't ready for, and I forgot that I did it that way, and it's not where I usually put it, and it fucks me up every single time. And then a lot of the deaths too are you're just doing random shit trying to get to an orb. You don't really know where it's at, and you're just a lot of exploration deaths. That's why I call them I'm just exploring, trying to find stuff. But 600 deaths. I think I was I think I did that on Ori 1 as well. I died a shit. But the speed is definitely there. It took a minute to get used to, because it just seems like the timing thing was off a little bit when so you try and come out of the sand, you're trying to get to a certain jump, and the stuttering might have affected you, but things slowed down and it fucked me up, and I was like, fuck it, man. It's a frustrating game, but it's not on fucking Neo level. It's a beatable game. It's not you're gonna get pissed off, but just understand you're gonna die a lot.
Dude, I have gone.
Oh yeah.
I have gone on record, Pred, and stated that this is the the best modern platformer out there right now. Do you think that's a proper kind of like title for it? Do you think that, I know we don't get a lot. I think there was Hollow Knight. There was a couple others, stuff like that. But do you consider this kind of like the king of the modern platformer?
I can't say that because I don't play a lot of platformers.
Great answer, man.
Would you like Cuphead? Would that be considered a platformer?
That's a platformer as well, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't like Cuphead, but I mean, it was a fun game. But it was
very different
game.
though.
Yeah, it was a more frustrating
Yeah,
game.
Cuphead's very different though. That's that's like a boss rush kind of platformer.
Yeah,
This is
I would say like this is like this, and a lot of people didn't like this game, but fuck, I forgot the name of it too. What the fuck is the name of that game that Microsoft came out with it? With Jewel
Recore.
That was a fun platformer too, but it didn't get the critical acclaim.
Hold on, check this out. Recore was made with the Unity engine, and I just found this out this week that Ori is made in the Unity.
It's also Unity.
I don't. Dude,
sure is.
Yeah. I cannot believe that. Like I have trashed the Unity engine so much on this show, and I'm like,
Unity's I moving out here, man. A lot more games than that you don't realize during the
Unity's moving out here, man.
Absolutely.
When I was at PAX, so a lot of the devs, a lot of games were showing. I mean, the fidelity was crazy, and then a lot of things that was also impressive was the scalability of Unity. Because what they were telling me was like, we see some like impressive game, and I'm like, man, this looks like this could easily be like next gen, Series X. And they're like, oh yeah, this is also multi-platform and also coming out to the Switch. And I'm like, what? Like, how is the Switch even going to do this? And I'm like, what engine are you using? Like Unity. It kept coming up a lot with developers in PAX East. They've increased.
It depends on how they build their game, right? Like, so if they build their game in a way and they know what they're doing on the scalability, that they can get that out almost any engine. But I digress on that one.
Guys, I'm getting
one more thing too.
Oh, go ahead.
The soundtrack of this game is
amazing
soundtrack.
Did you get the kind of like the
edition?
Yeah,
I got it.
Oh man, no, I didn't. I'm playing on Game Pass, people. I didn't even buy the game.
I didn't. I played it on Game Pass. I didn't pop the disc in or anything like that. But then, like, you can listen to the soundtrack on Spotify too.
That is true. Hashtag broke gamers out there, man. Game Pass is a great deal. I'm saying. But I'm getting called out in the chat. People talking about Mario Odyssey. Guys, I understand that. And I feel personally that Ori and the Will of the Wisps can stand up toe to toe with Mario Odyssey. And I feel like if people keep a level head and not let nostalgia really kind of take effect, it'd be interesting, kind of like the results on a survey or something like
Luigi's
that.
Mansion a fucking isn't that a platform as well?
Yeah.
It's kind of.
Luigi's Mansion?
It's kind of. It can be considered.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I would call it more a hybrid, man. To be really honest with you.
Yeah, it's a good one though.
I would say Ori will stand toe to toe with those Switch, those Nintendo.
I can agree with that because I played 3 Nintendo Switch games, and those are the 3 I played. So
Russian meta who? I don't know what you're talking about, brother.
No Russian riding. He riding right now. I mean, one thing about Ori though, I can't say. Is they captured the emotional beats of a game. Like without talking, they convey feeling like like I've not seen in a game before. Like it's really special what they're doing. Like you could go from very high highs to very low lows with the character. And again, there's not much, real language in the game. And it's impressive. It's very impressive. And then couple that with the graphical fidelity, couple that with, again, just the sound. Like the sound does another part and adds a level to the emotion of the game. And you really feel it. Like they do a good job, and I can't take nothing away with it. I feel mad that I haven't got a chance to really get in. But I'm just like, wow, just in like literally a prologue and like damn, I'm like, I can't believe what's going on, and you feel a way about things. That game makes you feel a way when something happens.
Dude, I got so heated. There was a certain part in the game a certain part in the game, and I'm not gonna spoil it, man. I got so mad about it. And again, like you said, there's really no talking. I mean, they have their animal sounds and all that good stuff. And but you're kind of like, you're reading parts as it's going through. But again, the body language and kind of like the emotion in the eyes from the characters and stuff like that, it really pulls you in. And
it almost feels. I'm sorry to cut you.
No, I got pissed.
Feel, Disney Pixar-y, like how when you watch a Disney film and stuff like that, that's the way they convey it, like the emotions very well, like you said, with the eyes and things like that, just little subtle things that get points across.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I actually touched on a lot of that in my review, is the whole emotion aspect that they try to get across to the player. It's really impactful, and I like how they present it in this type of package, because like Cog mentioned, there's very little dialogue, but they don't need dialogue to portray emotion. Like you don't. There's multiple. Yeah, and you know what? You got the audio feedback, your visual way of presenting that emotion, so how the art and the characters move and all that kind of stuff. But then you also got the most important way, because you could do all that stuff, but in order to properly get that emotion across is that music. That music is so integral, vital, and important. And Gareth Coker did a fantastic job, and it is beautiful. If you can't have that proper type of emotional portrayal without one or the other, and it is just so well done.
He's got to get nominated at the least.
I sure hope so, dude. It is so good. That guy, you can tell that guy put his heart and soul into that type of music, because it has to be unique for that type of world, but it also can't be the same as where you might have heard it somewhere else, because it needs to stand out. Right. So he just hit that mark. He really did that really well.
Another thing about this game, because you guys know me, I do, like, when I'm interested in a title, and even games I'm not interested in, I love doing research on games. As they as they're being announced, like going through development. And Ori and the Blind Forest, again, it's all, it's on the computer, but it's all hand drawn, hand painted. But with Ori and the Blind Forest, they did it all two-dimensional, and they were using kind of like different development tricks to kind of do to show more of a 3D. In Ori and the Will of the Wisps, they took it to the next level, and as they were hand drawing it and getting the graphics and everything down and painting it, they were actually doing it on 3D models at this point in time. And I feel like you can really tell in terms of the movement when you see the characters turning. It's a more fluid, natural look to it. I definitely see an improvement graphically. Is there anybody on the panel? Do you think that this was at least visually, this was definitely a step up from the original Ori, or do you look at it more kind of like the graphics are the same?
That HDR, man, makes a difference.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, I think it's it might not be like a drastic step up, but it's up there. I think it definitely got bumped up.
Nice. Cog, I will let you know, my brother, Lord Cognito, it's almost a good thing that you haven't really gotten into it yet, because once you get into this game, you know me with Destiny 2, man. We got the Warmind going on, we got trials, stuff like that. And dude, every time I turn on my Xbox now, because I haven't beaten Ori and the Will of the Wisps yet. Every time I turn on my Xbox,
I can tell.
My direction pad just goes down to that game and my pins.
I feel.
And all of a sudden, 3, 4, 5 hours later, I'm like, oh damn, man, I really got to get on my grind on Destiny, but I want to keep going forward on this game, man. K Mega, you said you got a couple hours in on this game. Why don't you let people know what you think about it? What are the highs? What are the lows? And your general opinion, bro.
Well, I mean, I streamed it on Mixer, and I was like, let me give this game an opportunity, because really, as for me, I said this on GRG last night. I've a couple of genres that I've kind of gone away from is the platformers and horror games. So I looked at Ori and I was like, oh man, I played the first one. I got the first one. but again, it was something that I'll play, put in like a fine wine, and just I'll get to it when I get to it. But it wasn't something that I was like overly excited about. I knew that the game was going to look beautiful, all of that. And then I started playing, and I was like, I'm going to play the game for about 10 minutes, guys, and then I'm going to get off the stream. Well, I caught myself playing it for about damn near 3 hours. So
Yep.
because it drew me in, and it was it's very, very, very beautiful game. I mean, I kept saying like these graphics is so stunning. And then when I posted it on Twitter, I don't normally talk about games like that. I'll say it's dope, it's cool, it's this and that, but not those type of words. And that's what gets thrown at your face right off the bat, right off of the little prologue when it just shows um the little owl and Ori flying through and all
My
that.
brother
Yeah,
Coo,
and it's
or
just
sister. Probably
yeah,
sister.
it was just beautiful. And then when you get into the game, because the cutscene, you're like, oh man, this is stunning. But then when you get within the game and actually start playing, then it's like a whole nother universe. It's
Oh
crazy
yeah.
because you
Oh,
see
yeah.
you see the wolf, and then you get in
Oh, yeah.
and then everything, and then just like like some of these little subtle things within the game that really just threw me off but made me excited was just when you would first get your little sword, and then you would
Yeah.
slice off grass. Like,
Yeah.
wow, like those little touches of detail was just so impressive. And then again, when people would say that this might be considered a double A, no, this is a triple A, because the love that they just off the musical score alone, this game
Preach.
is up there. The
Preach.
music. This is where I put the musical score. Now, look, I've only put in so many hours into this game, but the musical score is already up there with Halo, with God of War. I mean, it
Yeah.
already. I mean, it's magical. That's what makes it even. It gives you this feel of
What I'm
like.
talking about.
Well, I'm just being realistic. I mean, it just gives you this feel of just like, damn, this is one of them things that I've been missing. Like, it got me right back into wanting to play the platformer
Yeah.
when I was really
It's
not in it. And like I said, I don't own a Switch, but I know somebody who owned a Switch, and I play. You know what I'm saying? And so I
Yo,
play.
Cognito, he still didn't get his wife a Switch yet, man.
I'm getting it.
Wait,
I'm
all I
getting it,
heard
man. I'm
was
getting it. I'm getting it.
all I
I'm
heard
getting it.
was
I'm getting
I'm not console biased, but I know somebody that owns a Switch.
I'm not
I know of that
It- it-
device.
I'm not gonna. But regardless, but this is the thing here is that like I played Super Mario Odyssey, fantastic game. I played Luigi's Mansion, and I've got the chance to play that out there at E3. So it was one of those things, and then I played it. Yeah, well, no, I'm just saying whatever. And so and then a place I played Zelda, and that's another game that has another beautiful score is Zelda as well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's one of those things to me is like it's as much as the sample sizes that I've gotten from all of those games, they're special in their own place. Just like with Cuphead. The musical score with Cuphead is absolutely fantastic. The game is hard as hell. It's difficult, but it's something that is different, and it shows that you can have games that could be so quote unquote cartoon graphics, but also be looked at with respect and be up there with the games that look like The Last of Us 2 and so forth. Uh, I didn't experience any glitches, but I mean, I only got 3 hours in. But I mean, but you know, what I'm saying, I only got 3 hours into the game, but I'm definitely going to go back, and actually play it and beat it, because it got me to where I was like, damn, this game is hot. And so so anybody out there that's on the fence, or kind of like was like me, that was I'm kind of out of that platform type of stuff. No, man, once you play it and get in tune with it and start hacking up enemies. And that was one thing also that you alluded to, Bot, was that it's also faster, but it's a little bit more action packed right off the bat. Unlike the
Yeah,
first
it
one, the
is.
first one's kind of a slow grind. This is already putting you in, and I was like, "Oh, I'm already fighting something."
Yeah, that
and so
wolf
I'm like,
pulled up.
"Okay."
I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So it was like, okay. So it was so even beyond the wolf, when you go in there, and Don was watching me play, where I got to this part where I really shouldn't have been. I should have had some special abilities, but I went in there, and I think I've died maybe 25 times trying to kill this spider, this beetle. and these sand things. Is when I first beat the beetle and the
It
spider,
was
I was like,
glorious to watch. I'll tell you
uh,
what.
it was bad. It was bad because I knocked my hat off my head and everything.
Dude,
Like,
no,
what the
when
heck?
you hold on, K Mega, when you watch, because I've watched like gameplay, you know, when people were dropping like previews, reviews, and I saw the giant beetle, right? And I was watching people playing that, and I'm like, man, they're getting hit there, dude. I would wreck this beetle until I came face to face with it myself. And
See, I haven't even seen the big beetle. I just seen the little beetle, and that
after
was
the
hell.
fourth time dying, I finally conquered that sucker. Man, the fighting mechanics alone are a huge improvement.
Yes.
See, you can swing up, you can swing down, so you can jump over the enemies, swing down on them, stuff like that. It really, that a lot of the enjoyment comes from the combat, like you said, K Mega.
Right, and that was the thing to me was that got me more into it because it was like, oh wow, and then that little part where it was the beetle, it was the spider thing, and then I was like, whoa, I finally got past that. And then there was these sandworms that came out of nowhere, and then after that there were mosquitoes. So I was itching out, but it exhausted me, and I was like, look, I'm going to bed. The stream is over. But yeah, I think. But yeah, no, the game is magical, and I hate the fact that it does have issues. Like I said, I only had a small sample size of like 3 hours or so it didn't. So I didn't get any lag and any issues or anything like that. But it is unfortunate that even if with this patch it still has this issue, but I'm telling you, give it a shot, give it a chance, because even if you're not into those type of games, and just let us know what you think about it, because it threw me completely off of how great it was.
People can play it with Game Pass though. They don't. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't even have to.
Absolutely.
If you never subscribe to Game Pass, you spend $1, you get a month of Game Pass, and you can try it for yourself.
Well, even with that, the $30 price tag is just amazing in its own right. That's a $60 quality title, in my opinion. I mean, just by the musical score, the graphics alone. Now, of course, it would have to be docked, of course, because of the because of the issues with the performance or whatever. But man, I mean, you can't ask for a game to be at that level with everything that it shows and it does with this performance, and actually not say this game is not worth at least a $40-$50 price tag, in my opinion. So yeah, you getting away with it even if you bought it for $30.
Well,
absolutely,
with K Mega saying that, that people that aren't into this game, I'm one of those people where I'm like not into these type of games usually, and I actually think it's a fantastic game. To be honest, I think it's probably one of the best games I've played.
Did you hear that?
This generation.
Oh, fantastic!
To be honest,
he had to hold it back a little.
A tear almost went down my face when I said that.
Get him, dog. Get him, dog.
It dropped like your latte.
Because normally I'm not like, I don't really like these type of games. I'm usually like into like action oriented games, like like Souls, like things like that. Like I like the challenge and stuff. And then people were telling me like, hey, you should play Ori of the Blind Forest if you like challenge. And I started playing it, and I was like, it's okay. Like I'm like, it's fun. But then I was all like, well, Ori and the Will of the Wisps is coming out like in a couple days. When I started playing Blind Forest, and I was just like, I'm just gonna jump into Will of the Wisps, and I jumped into it, and I couldn't put it down. Like I literally could not put the game down. It's just so good. It's a beautiful looking game. It's definitely like anybody who doesn't like that type of game, I think they should just try it. I mean, especially if you're only gonna pay $1 for Game Pass, just do it, because you might actually like the game.
Absolutely, and it's not a long time frame too. Like you max maybe from start to finish, maybe 10 to 12 hours.
Right.
That's
exactly.
it.
I'm probably like 6 or 7 hours into it, so like, but I'm still trying to get all this other,
Dude, I already spent over 2 hours just in Spirit Trials, man.
Well, that's another thing that I was going to say as well.
But it's one of those games that you could just keep coming back to it.
Well, yeah,
absolutely.
That's what I was going to say. Like real brief, it was that I don't want every game to be 40 to 50 hours. You know, I
Yes.
want a game that can be
Yes.
Right.
around 6 or 7
Mhm.
or to 15 hours at max,
Deadpool.
and then you can look
Preach.
at it and say, wow, that experience was spectacular. It doesn't have to
Hmm.
be this 25, 30, 40 hour, 100-hour
Preach.
experience. As long as the game, I think that's what's telling about a game. If the shorter that it is, and if the more impactful it is, I think that's where those games definitely needs a lot of praise, in my opinion. So, I mean, I'm
Mhm.
glad that Ori is not like they didn't add any filler. They just gave the game out the way it was, and it's short enough to beat on a weekend, and then you just sit back and think about how great that game was, and maybe go back and play it maybe 6, 7 months or a year later, and it still feel great.
Yep.
Nice, nice. Now, Rage, I want to bring something back to you because, like I said,
Sure.
I've been checking out the reviews. In my opinion, your review is actually my absolute favorite. You know,
Ooh.
to
Oh,
see
thank you.
well, you know what it is. You can see the joy in gaming
Yes.
that you have.
Yes.
All right.
Passion,
You
that-
know,
mhm.
a lot of people, whether they've done it for like so long or whatever, all of a sudden it becomes kind of like cookie cutter and stuff like that. But with you describing kind of like your background before you tried this game, where you were coming from as a gamer, I think you gave a lot more insight. And it was a really good review. Now, with me
Thank you.
checking out other reviews and stuff, I think it was GameSpot that put it out that it seemed like, again, Ori and the Blind Forest was kind of like a prologue, and then they came out with Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Now, in their review, they're trying to suggest that it seems like a send off when it comes to Ori. Like they're not necessarily going to plan a sequel. This was the game, and Moon Studios might very well move on to other projects now and make other games. Did you get that feeling? And how would you feel? How would you feel if Moon did kind of move on and start new projects and kind of like put Ori away after this game?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That's what we're known for, brother.
I know, but like, okay. So when you beat the game, there's something very interesting, something very special happens, and it basically is almost like a giant conclusion to the story. But to me, it doesn't feel like it's fully concluded.
Okay.
I still think there is quite a viable possibility that they can easily continue on with this story. But it may not be from Ori's perspective. It could be easily from a different
He's trying to be
character.
spoiler free right now. Yo, I appreciate that, brother. I so appreciate that.
He
bro.
working right now. He working.
Oh man, I got you. I know where you're all coming from here. All right, trust me, I got you back on this one.
Yeah, don't spoil it, please.
Hell no. I'm not about that.
Who's beating the game
but-
so far besides me and him?
Man, that be like game. I want to play it again for like a second, third time through already.
I gotta wait for my girl, man. Gotta wait for my girl, dude.
There you go.
She gonna love this game. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, she will. Yeah, she will. But I will say, there. I do think there's a chance that they can continue on in this world, but maybe not from Ori's perspective. I'll just put it that way.
Damn, man, you got me like I want to pick up the controller right now and see what the frig you're talking about.
Yo, finish that story. Finish that story, and there's 3 times that you'll ugly cry in that game. There's two very close to each other. When you get to the ends, that's almost a whole nother one. Just wait, my friend. Just wait.
No.
Can we get a coup? Can we get a coup
It's
plush
good.
doll? Coup plush
They
doll.
made one.
Yeah.
Please.
More. Like just keep going with it.
Well,
Exactly.
my brother Rage right here. He got the hoodie that I want, man.
Oh
my
yeah.
goodness,
I see them stunting with that. Yeah.
That is
Only
fire.
300 made, man. I gotta get one.
Brother, if you can pull any string, we'll talk afterwards. All right, like. Now I know, Dark. You went in and you did share some of your thoughts. Anything else about this game? Before I gotta ask Don what he thinks. I gotta ask, Crispy hasn't even tried the game yet, so But is there anything
I
else you want
actually
to put
did.
on top?
So
Oh, you
that's
did.
bullshit.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Well,
You said
the
you
thing
gotta wait
is,
for your girl, man.
well, that's the thing with this game. It's definitely just like you have to experience in order to really like appreciate what they did with this type of game. I ran into a few glitches here and there, but you know what? It was so minor that like I was just like, okay, well, whatever. And then I started playing for like another 40 minutes, and then I run into something that was like that again, and I would just be like, whatever. I want to get back into the game, Like it was just like I don't even care about these bugs right now. Like like I'm enjoying this game so much, which is completely weird for me because I don't typically like that kind of thing. So
It is
Well,
kind of
that's a
weird,
testament to yourself, though, right? Like
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
testament to the game.
Well, no, it's a testament to
Mhm.
the game. It's a testament to what Moon Studios is able to do. And honestly, from now on, if whatever they make, I'm definitely probably gonna play it and pick it up. For sure.
Ooh, nice.
Absolutely.
Nice. Yeah, I think with the art style and it's really cool because this studio, there's no like central place for this studio. Everybody is online like working on the game from all different parts of the world. Like the studio is made up from so many people all scattered throughout the world, and they come together online, and that's how they made their game. It's really interesting that they did it that way as well because I mean that's kind of I think that's unique to that studio per se. I don't know any other studios that are kind of situated
It's
like
going to
that.
be the future for sure.
Well, Don, have you tried the game at all, bro?
Yeah, I'm actually not too far behind you. I realized
Oh
because
shoot.
you were playing some
There we
weird
go.
side mode, and I'm like, man,
Dude,
what has Bot even playing?
Delilah answered the call, and if anybody knows about Delilah, there's a reason why I call her the most intelligent gamer I know. Yo, she has got skill for days, and we were going back and forth.
I agree. She is very intelligent, but I don't know why she fell for your trap.
Dang.
It's the competition, brother. It's a
It's that
competition.
12-year-old voice, man. That's what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So, but no, I was looking. I'm like, man, how much time has Bob put into it? And I'm like, I compared. I'm like, wait, he's not too far ahead of me, so we're not too far off from one another. But, yeah, I played it. I enjoyed it. It is, it's work of love, right? Like you can tell, like everything. Like people are saying, like, is it going to be the last one? Well, they left it as an option to be a last one, or they left it as an option to come back to it if they want to, right? So it allows the studio to do what they want. And this is also, I think, the uniqueness of the studio and how they're in separate places. That's going to happen more and more as you get some of these older talents, that are out there that have these skills that they've built up. They kind of start making their own demands. And we're seeing it more and more where certain talents are just like, man, I want to go live in Montana where it costs nothing to live. You know what I mean? And I can work out of my own office, right?
Absolutely.
And there's an appeal to that. And I've said this before, the industry needs to get out of LA. They need to get out of Washington. They need to expand out of Texas, at least here in the United States, right? I think getting people from different regions and getting people where they feel comfortable, they can make a better living. You can do all these sort of things. They can work from home, so when there's crunch and stuff like that, they're not away from their family. Things like
Yeah,
that.
we're not touching crunch tonight. Yeah, I'm telling
But
you.
I'm just saying things like that.
That's a messy situation.
But it addresses a lot of issues, I think, within development. And there's their own unique challenges, I think, being more or less kind of like a satellite studio type format. But no, they made a great game, and I love the fact that it also flies in the face of, like, what I always say, genres never die. They just become a little less popular.
I actually referenced you with that. I was like, yo, he said that genres never die. And man, all of a sudden, like you feel this rush, at least on like the Xbox platform, for a platformer like this. Right?
Yeah, well, and that's one of those things. Like, too, like, man, the genre has just never died to keep on going. I mean, the music. I mean, I can double down on that. Like, literally, 5 notes in, you're just like already sucked in. You know it's Ori. You're in for everything else is kind of disappears in the background, and it's about what you're doing. And so yeah, I mean, it hits all the notes. It does really, really well. I've had a couple issues where it would freeze, but what I did is I moved the game to the internal drive on my X, and the problem solved it.
Oh.
So
That's probably
Okay.
why I don't have any issues.
Pro tip.
so give it a shot.
Probably why.
Give it a
'Cause it's
shot.
there.
So
Okay.
the external would just hang up. It had like this type of thing where I can tell like it was loading something, and it would just have whatever reason it had a little hang up, and then it would pause, and then it would get going like no problem. It was just kind of like almost like when you hit a loading screen, but there's no loading bar, and it's like 2 or 3
Man, I'm
seconds.
gonna get that right now.
So
He gonna have me move off my SSD right now.
yeah, so I
damn
mean,
right. I'm moving Ori to the main Xbox. Damn right.
Yeah.
give it a shot. But outside of that, no, I really enjoyed it so far. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to get back to it.
We're gonna see Don cry on stream. Yeah, he's gonna stream it, and he's gonna cry.
I have no problem shedding a tear, but tonight I'm playing a little Sea of Thieves because there's new DLC.
You better not cry when we streaming.
We're not gonna cry together. We're not gonna. There's no.
I don't think you got a choice this
Omega.
time around.
Go get your wife a Switch, damn it.
Yo, just like that elite and Sergeant
Disgusted
Johnson.
his voice.
Yeah,
Oh,
be
man.
nice to the man. He knows a man that owns a Switch.
Yeah.
That is true. He knows a guy.
All right,
He
check this
knows
out.
the guy.
I know. Yeah. I'm a good friend.
Check this out, guys. We are gonna move on. Well, I want to hear what Crispy has to say, and then after that, we are gonna get into the whole E3 situation and what Xbox is gonna be doing to let people know and see all that. But first, I gotta ask Crispy. You said you tried the game. About how long are you into it, and what do you think so far, brother?
All I got to say is the only reason why I downloaded this is because of Rage. Your review was amazing, and it really
Oh, thank
There
you.
we go.
it
Thank
hit
you.
It hit every point that I wanted to hear because I heard a lot of people were having trouble, and then you had the update and everything else, and I know people are still having trouble. We have to realize that there's a lot of things going on, and people might not be at work. They might be working from home and stuff like that. Let's be honest for a second. Like, there's a lot of things going on right now in the world. Let's be patient. I wanted to try it a couple days ago before even my girl saw the trailer and everything else. She was absolutely obsessed with it. And one thing I'll say is that being a side scroller, and I almost feel like it's a side-scrolling RPG because of what they give you. You know what I mean? They give you tools to play the game differently than everyone else. Okay. And I feel that's great. And I've watched that from like what Xbox does compared to what other people I've watched does.
Yeah, Chris,
you know what I mean?
said I'm good at the game, by the way, when I was streaming, by the way.
Well,
I
I mean, you keep going for those time trials, which is cool. That's a smart way to engage the community. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So in the end, it might be a Game Pass problem because I feel like every time I play a game on Game Pass, there's a problem at launch. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Maybe there's too many people involved. I don't know. But I went and played, I'd say, I realistically 30 minutes of the prologue. Okay. And all I felt is tight controls, number one.
Yes.
Number two, the storytelling in a side-scrolling game was epic. Okay. Yeah. It felt amazing. And it felt like I almost started shedding tears. No, you're not going to get me to do it. I almost started shedding tears. Like you felt emotion for Ku, and you felt emotion for Ori because you're looking. You have one perspective, you have another perspective, and they did that without words or anything, and that is amazing. On top of that, you have artwork in the background. You have actual artwork.
Every screenshot is like a piece of art from this game, man.
Isn't it?
And the music with the artwork, with the emotion they give you without really saying words, just you have this mumbling, and then all of a sudden you have words come up on the screen. This game is for a lot of people, and I want people to understand. I haven't played a side scroller in years. I haven't, and I'm going to go back to this game. Yes, I'm going to wait because my girlfriend only likes certain games. You know what I
Mortal
mean?
Kombat.
So if she loves Mortal Kombat, that's why I didn't get to play it with her the other night because she just kept going with it. But at the same time, she saw what she saw on YouTube or whatever. I told her, I was like, just look up, different people playing it or whatever. And she was like, my God, this game's amazing. And then she said, the first thing she said to me is, my kid is going to love this. And I was like, really? I was like, he's like, oh my God. He loved Cuphead. They love the challenge. The game has challenge involved. You just pick your mode. You know what I mean? I'm going easy because I haven't played a side scroller in years.
It's not Crispy. It's not called
I would go
easy.
normal, dude.
It's not
to be
called
honest.
easy mode. We call that crap gamer mode. All right.
That's low, bro.
Shout out to
But
my
I
brother
agree.
Crap. Yo, he even says it himself, man. What?
But that's where I come from. Like, dude, I've played side scrollers my entire life. You have to understand, like a side scroller was all it was for like 10 to 15 years. It felt like, you know what I mean?
That's true. Facts.
And
Crispy,
then I came into this game and like I said, dude, Rage, you laid it out. You laid it all on the table, and you said, "This is how I feel about this game," And I was like, "Man, I gotta try it." And now that I've tried it, I want to go back in, and that's kind of crazy.
My man.
For me. You know what I mean?
Man, I'm the same way. Like, I've been itching to dive back in. That game is just phenomenal.
I might be playing a game after the show tonight.
Artwork,
I know. Right?
musical
After?
prowess,
During?
like it's great. I love it.
I'm already planning game during.
I'm already playing. All right. Well, guys,
You bastards.
here's the deal. It is from at least my opinion, and you heard everybody on the panel. It is definitely worth giving a shot, even if you haven't played platformers in a while, or even if you have a tendency to kind of steer away from platformers. Again, through Game Pass, if you already have Game Pass, you can just download the game and play it. If you don't have Game Pass, you never subscribed, they have a deal going on right now for $1. You can get a month of Game Pass, so you can try it out for 4 weeks and see how you like it there. But not only that, there are over 100 games in Game Pass that you can try out as well. It's a really great deal. But guys, we need to move on to E3. All right, and we are going to talk about GDC as well, but with what's going on in the world, unfortunately, a huge event. I call it the Mecca of video games. E3 was canceled. All right, a place where regardless your preferred platform, you could come together with all types of gamers, share experiences, see what's coming down the road when it comes to the gaming industry and stuff like that. Unfortunately, with what's going on in the world, it is canceled. Now, Mooch last night, he asked if this could inevitably hurt Xbox, and I feel I was the only one on that panel that said that there can definitely be a little kind of like residual when it comes to this. And the reason why I said this is because Microsoft and Xbox, they're trying to gain as much mind share as possible right now. And to have a conference like E3 and to have your showing out there, if you're, after everything is shown, everything is talked about, if you're looked at as kind of like the crowning jewel of E3 2020, that creates a lot of hype when it comes to what you're offering, especially in the year where a new console is coming out and stuff. So I was letting people know it's exactly how I feel, that even with a digital show that they're gonna have, I feel like it would have been better if things weren't the way they were in this world and E3 was happening. I'm gonna go to Cognito on this one. Cog, what do you think about E3 being canceled? I know we really can't say too much, in terms of kind of like health. I think health is above everything else. But I'm going to kind of present the question that was presented to me last night. Do you think that it kind of hampers what Xbox was trying to do to kind of like grab mindshare and stuff like that, or do you think their digital show is just gonna make up for that? It's gonna be perfectly fine no matter what.
Yeah, that's a great question. I kind of see where you're going with it. I mean, obviously, when the news broke this week, it was devastating to me, because at E3 is, like you said, is the mecca. You know what I mean? That's what I've grown up on. That's what I look for, where the big companies can come out, they show the latest games. You have that surprise factor. You have that wow factor. It is something special about that press conference. And more importantly, it's that brotherhood, right? It's that seeing the faces, the content creators, the people you game with in the flesh in one place. Shout out to K-Mac. I met him last year, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's so many people that you interact with. So it's just that brotherhood part really hurts. Now, as far as your question, I kind of get what you're saying from this standpoint. Look, the show's going to go on. We know that. Microsoft is going to adjust. They're going to do what they have to do, like all the other companies. But I think the difference is Nintendo has already been in that mindset of doing directs. That's what they do for the last couple of years. So to me, that's a formula they excel at right now, whereas Sony and Microsoft are going to have to pivot, per se. Well, Sony, they were already saying they weren't going, so they're kind of prepping already. But for Microsoft, the only reason I feel it's a slight blow is because, let's be real, we had the Game Awards, right? We had the spectacle that they did of Phil coming out there, sucker punch. Nobody saw it coming, right? So you got the Series X announcement. You've got Hellblade. Hold on 1 second for the cars that go by.
Wait, did you just call him Sucker Punch Phil?
I call it the sucker punch, man. He called us the sucker punch. Nobody saw it coming. Yeah. It's like you're standing up to the
not wrong. You're not wrong.
You know what I mean? So for them, it was fantastic. And I love that story behind it about that intern or whoever, not the intern, but whoever it was that said, we should try something different. And that's what I think Microsoft needed to do, to set the new generation off, to say, hey, this is going to be something different. Now, you got all this momentum. Each week we're hearing new information about the Series X. Like, they're so transparent. Whereas on the other side, Sony has been kind of extremely reserved. They're not getting that information. So I feel it's advantage Microsoft coming into the next generation to build up that mindshare. So where I do agree with you, Xbox, is that it would have been something knowing that they were, again, going to be there on their own and compared to Sony, you know what I'm saying? And having that announcement and having that whole bombastic nature and the spectacle of E3.
They would have to like really knock it out the park. But like I said, if you're looked at by the gaming media out there as like the crowning jewel of that entire event, that means something. That builds even more momentum.
Absolutely. That's the part. I just feel, because they have so much to prove going into next generation, it is imperative for them to build up that mindshare, to galvanize the base, to excite people who were not necessarily going to buy an Xbox or may say to themselves, hey, I'm sticking with Sony, but then when I saw what I saw, hey, I might have to look at that Series X kind of thing. Now, again, there's smart people over there. They will pivot. They will adjust. They will make things happen. I'm very curious, though, moving forward, how they do it. We know we got GameStack next week. I saw a couple of Series X things on that list. I saw a couple of, talking points. So I'm just curious to see how they space it out, how they do it. Is it a series of announcements? Obviously, we still got Lockhart to talk about. It's a lot of things. So I just want to see how they adjust. That's all. But I do understand your point. I want to listen to Crossfire now because I want to hear how they were going at you. Yeah. But I do understand your point.
It's good to know that you knew that they were coming at me for saying.
Oh yeah, I know they're coming.
You're gonna listen to Crossfire. You're not even gonna hear bot talk at all.
Oh man,
or me.
Just from a momentum standpoint, because again, they've been on fire, and to have that spotlight all them to themselves for the most part, and if they were to knock it out at E3, if it was still going on, obviously, why not? It would have been really special to see. But we'll see what happens moving forward.
All right, bro. Crispy, what do you think about this question? Like I said, in a perfect world, we wouldn't be dealing with what we're dealing with right now. It was a really good chance for Xbox to kind of like really knock it out the park on stage at E3. And if they're looked at like that, from the gamers that are, watching the shows, from the gamers who are there as well, that would have definitely created momentum. Do you agree with what I was saying? Last night and tonight, and I'm a fairly consistent guy, so pretty much all the way through this. Or do you feel like with the digital show, it'll create whatever hype it needs to, and it could still be on par with if they were on stage at the live event itself?
Well, I mean, that really depends on if Sony's going to be silent or not. I mean, are they going to continue to push the games that they're having coming out? Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2.
Ghost
you know
of
what I
Tsushima
mean?
looks great though.
and this is where I go and say, I understand that people highly enjoy those games. They are AAA quality. They are the amazing games that you love. But I almost find that everybody's ignoring that the generation that's coming up is not interested. I'm just I understand that you're going to argue with me, and I'm fine with that. But in the end, I have dealt with many younger people than me, and they don't care about single player story driven games. They really don't. They want to compete with people. They want to conversate with people. They want to take the games to the social medium.
That's why my kids are playing Roblox like right now, because they're competing and talking.
Minecraft and all these games that are very social in some way or another. And it's very hard for me to go and say, okay, if PlayStation stays the way they are, silent, completely silent, and Xbox continues to give us specs, gives us, we could hear about the Series S. You know what I mean?
I thought we were supposed to hear about that this week. Somebody said,
who knows? I'm not like, I'm the type of person that's just like, let me just see it when it actually happens.
Don't start that stuff.
Let's just see it when it actually happens.
I'm calling it out, man. I wanted to know.
But when PlayStation, I love the 13.3 teraflops and the 10 teraflops and the teraflop this, teraflop. Well, the one thing, being an Xbox gamer, I already know that the Series X has 12 teraflops. Okay? And I highly enjoy knowing what's going on. Okay? I really do.
Enjoy knowing what's going on. I appreciate that,
when I save the money for that console, I know what I'm getting. You understand what I'm saying? And that's where I go and say, like, if PlayStation stays silent, Xbox should come with the hammer. But I'm not talking like this Larry Herb BS with the gloves on and all that.
You don't want
shit.
that inside
I'm talking.
You not checking for that?
I'm talking at least 30 minutes through the whole thing of Phil talking about the damn console itself. So nobody can sit there and say, oh, it's just speculation or this and that, because that's all I hear half the time. I'm still hearing it about the Xbox saying, hey, it's 12 teraflops. Like, I'm still people like, oh, that's not true. Like, dude.
Damn, you hang around with the wrong people then, bro.
Well, you know what? I rarely block people, not like, certain people. I rarely block people. I let them speak their mind, and then I kind of get a good laugh at the end of the day. And what I'm saying is that Xbox is prepared. I truly believe they're prepared. They were probably prepared before some others, even though some people backed out way before.
Well, they started gearing for this year like 3 years ago or so. Like, I mean, they better be prepared.
You can't take some of or most of those elements that were actually going to be in E3 and take them and put them in a digital show. Yes, you're not going to have this crowd going, ooh, ah, or whatever. You know what I mean? But in the end, is it still going to have the same impact? It possibly could. You know what I mean? Or it couldn't. But like I said, it really comes down to what PlayStation does. It really does, because PlayStation has the mind share still right now, even though the VGAs happened and Phil did what he did, okay? And he listened to an intern, which I have much respect for that, because I would be that intern in there, you know what I mean? Saying like, let's do something different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
At one point, Phil was the intern, right? So
exactly.
I think he understands that, yeah.
You know, so that's the point I try to make. Like, PlayStation still has the cards, but if they're going to remain silent, like, you have an opportunity right now. You already backed out of E3 before all this happened. You know what I mean? So you have an opportunity to go, tit for tat with them. Are you going to do it? And that's where I go and question it, because I haven't. If PlayStation 5 is more powerful, then I think they would have said something by now. I'm just saying. Right. Mind share is starting to matter more and more as social media becomes more relevant. And that's really all I could think about.
Yo, just real quick, shout out to Sovereign Cogito. What is up, brother? Thank you for hitting up that super chat. He says, flip-floppers will take a big L next gen. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Hashtag who did that for you?
Ooh, well said,
brother.
Talk about that.
Woo! Dude, that is a great quote right there, man. I think more people out there should realize that, every single company has gone through their pitfall. When you look at it, Xbox is pretty much the youngest company in the console making video game industry. Now I know, Google with Stadia, they're the newcomers with their streaming service. But at the end of the day, if you notice, Nintendo, they had a pitfall at one point in time.
You better respect that Stadia, man. I'm telling you, man.
Sony had their pitfall. I mean, I think we can all, agree when it came to the PS3, and they had to do a complete 180, and they came back in record time. I will say that. But every single company has to go through its pitfall. So why can't this generation, even though I have had quality experiences on the Xbox platform, which I feel people that owned the PS3 during their quote-unquote dark days or whatnot, they still had quality experiences on that platform. Like, every company is going to go through that.
I applied that whole entire quote to my career. My career has been like that,
3, PlayStation 3 would never have won if the Red Ring of Death happened. That's it, and it comes down to price. Who's going to have the better price? And if the Series S is better than the X,
who had the market share last gen though? Who had the market share last gen?
Well, had the mind share was I would say for the if you're going to look at the entire generation, I would say it was the 360. If you're talking,
the 360 or the Wii U, or the Wii.
I was going to say, if you're talking about sales, which me when it comes to like hardware sales, the Nintendo Wii blew everything out of the water.
Everything out of the water, right? So I mean, that's the I think, like, when you hear stands come out and they bring up that whole thing about how PlayStation 3 caught back up. If that was the case, why is it that they ran from the PlayStation 3 like the plague and everybody jumped over to the PlayStation 4? I'm just making that point. All right.
Well, I mean, worldwide they got caught up, but that's a whole different thing. I mean, they didn't really get the mind share until this gen, and that happened at the beginning of this gen for them. So.
I got you. Now, Rage, I'm gonna come to you with the question I asked Cognito, I asked Crispy. Mooch asked us last night, and I thought it was a really good question, to the point where I'm like, I got to bring it to this panel tonight. No E3. I know it's a disappointment to a lot of people out there, and I can pretty much say probably the majority of this panel as well. Do you think that this will be that not having this show will be a hit on the momentum that Xbox is trying to build, or do you feel like their digital show that they're going to come out with is going to be enough, man?
I think the digital show will definitely be enough. There definitely is a nice kind of personal impact you can have with fans when you do a live presentation, like you do at E3 sort of thing. But you got to make sure you have the fans there. But even then, you only have that connection with the fans that are in that building that are part of that event. When you do something that you take into consideration where it's a much larger and broader audience from what you're typically doing or what you're used to doing, you tend to readjust and rethink certain things to where you got to make sure that you appeal to a much broader audience now that you go into an all digital platform, instead of kind of trying to balance out how to do a live presentation while also doing like trying to appeal with also a live viewer audience. Now they can just purely focus on a digital video format that is quick and concise and informative to the viewer, to where it's not being dragged out. They're getting all the information that they need. They're getting the presentations out of the way and everything they need to present in a timely manner. And I think that's a good thing, because also a big complaint in the past few years has been show length. It takes a long time with a live presentation. It takes a long time to get things set up and to get people off the stage and on, and you got to transition and fill time with things in between. Now they don't have to give that filler. So it could be a much better format, I think, in their eyes. And once they realize that they can do it this way, we might not have to wait for E3 each year. So, yeah, that's how I feel.
Well, Rage, I will say, I feel like these conferences, these gaming events, I feel that they are absolutely important. Now, I know a lot of people are talking about, well, you know, like digital events are so much better, but I am the type of person that feels a neutral ground is needed, especially when they're showing off new things. Like, if they control their entire narrative, let's be honest here. We're talking about corporations, and if they can slide something to the audience that isn't necessarily true, or it's not necessarily running on what they said it was running, you know, they're going to do that. And if they completely control the narrative, then they're not going to have, you know, Rage there, Lord Cognito there, K Mega there to be like, hey, hold up, no, that was running on this. Like, I saw it that way. You know what? I feel like these neutral grounds are kind of like imperative to keep integrity to what is being shown. Like, what do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, no, I don't disagree with you at all on that. I guess from the point of view of the Microsoft Showcase in general, for the fans, it's digital, it's good. But for, let's say, the media that needs to go and get their hands on the games, the developers need to go and actually show the games to the people how it plays, so people can actually get proper hands-on impressions on how it plays, how it feels, and actually interview the developers. That's very, very important to getting your game out there and spreading the word and making sure you're building those business connections. So that is also integral and vital. And that's why when we got GDC canceled, that was a big blow to the industry, because between E3 and GDC, that's where most of those relationships are developed and built on, especially between studios and publishers. That's where a lot of the business relationships end up happening and being built. So with those being gone, how is that going to take place this year? Well, unfortunately, it's not. So there's going to have to be some way, I hope, that they find maybe later on this year, to where they can maybe have that kind of hands-on presentation again.
I think they need to make E3 mostly a fan fest, like for real. Like GDC is not that far, you know, ahead of E3. Like you're basically like, and we've heard it many times.
GDC isn't meant
media,
for us, though, brother.
and I understand that. You know what I'm saying?
No, but it's not meant for us.
But E3 needs to become a PAX or something like that, just bigger. You know what I mean? And you're willing to do conferences and showcase what you're doing. And I think that would save E3, because you could still, you know, allow people that are actual gamers to play the games.
I don't think and they might saving, man. I think this is just an issue with the world.
I don't know. Like I don't know. A lot of people feel that the way, you know, I feel that, you know, they need a little something more. It's almost like GameStop, like, hey, come on, you got to do something different. You know what I mean? Well, we're in a digital age. We're in a digital age, and we have to understand that, you know, most of us, at least on this panel, grew up, you know, not being in a digital age and having the Nokia that was as big as our hand and everything else. Okay. And we understand things differently, and we look at it objectively rather than subjectively. You know what I'm saying? So these younger people that have grown up with the cell phone that can play games and everything else. We didn't have that. You know what I mean? And
Damn, you're old.
you,
What about Snake,
yeah,
brother? Come on, that was on Nokia.
Oh yeah, Snake, baby.
I have no idea what Nokia
That
is.
was true entertainment value, Xbox. True entertainment
Dude, I love my
value.
Snake game on my phone, man. Don't even.
But he still plays it. There you go.
You haven't lived till you had to pull your antenna out on your phone.
Yo, for real.
Salute.
Oh, damn. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug, man. I don't know, Predator, what do you think on this, brother? When it comes down to it, I feel like, you know, it was a golden opportunity, you know, when E3 was, you know, happening. Now, unfortunately, with everything going on, it's not happening anymore. So do you feel like it's going to be less of a golden opportunity now that they're going all digital? And I feel like when it comes down to it, more of like the Xbox fans over anything else, those are going to be the people tuning in, where at this event it was going to be so much more than that. Yeah, what do you think, bro?
Well, this only really affects people who are actually gonna go to E3. I would say it that way. And I know a lot of people who the majority of us just watch it on Mixer or YouTube or something like that. So for us, it's streamed anyway. Microsoft will put together a show. We've seen some shitty inside Xboxes before. I'm sure they'll do something similar to that, but basically beef it up a little bit. Like, from my perspective, I've never been to E3. I wanted to go this year, but I got other stuff going on with the family, and so like I wasn't gonna go. So it doesn't affect me because I'd still be sitting here watching on my computer screen and doing a podcast with you guys. So it doesn't affect me. I think the overall aspect of it, coming from the gamer perspective and Microsoft, the business side of it, that's the place you can showcase everything. You have a huge audience to yourself. They're focused on you, but they can do that any day of the week. They can do that tomorrow if they really wanted to. Like if they really wanted to post something, they could do it tomorrow. It's just that day, that week, that event. It's a big media frenzy for everything gaming, you know, here in the United States and other places. So like, they're going to miss out on that, but they're still doing something. And all the world who can't be in California to watch it live are still going to watch it the same way they're going to watch it before. It's just going to be probably toned down a little bit because you're not going to have all the hoopla, the hype, you know, the interviews, that sort of thing from other people. And I think that aspect of it was missed because, like, when K Mega went last year, he got to talk to a lot of people. He got to rub noses and elbows with some of the people that were there and play the whole thing.
You were rubbing your nose on somebody, man. What are you doing, bro?
That's why they cancel
in
it.
E3, you
That's how you get
it's
coronavirus,
like
man.
Vegas. Because
Don't say that, man.
Oh, hey, listen. E3 is like Vegas. You know what I'm saying? You don't talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Cognito,
But, I mean,
are you
I
going
think
to sign
that
that
aspect of it, like-
check, brother?
Let Megan rock on that one. That's my
I
man.
think from-
He's like, I'm gonna let Mega die on that hill.
Yeah, by
That's
yourself, man. From that perspective, like, a lot of people get to play those games there, and like, I was thinking about this. Like, if I was at Microsoft, what I would do is like have an app where we can all go in and try to play the games, like a demo of the game, something like that. Bring demos back, you know, like,
They did that on
let us
360, man. When
let
E3.
us play the games that we probably could have gotten to play had we gone to E3. Since we're not going to do it now, come up with a way to do it for everybody now in a different way. And a thing like this, like a crisis like this, when these things happen, it makes people think outside the box and do things they normally wouldn't do, or try things they wouldn't normally try to see if it would work. And this is a perfect opportunity for everybody involved. It's not going to be at E3, all the companies, to do something different with their shows and the things they have planned. Because, you know, Microsoft typically has their plans in place. You know, they're probably practicing for it now, until everything happened. Like they already kind of start formulating what they're going to show and how they're going to show it and stuff like that. It kind of buys them more time. It gives them a lot more flexibility to do something.
You got Larry ironing out his white gloves right now, getting ready.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Starching them up.
That's what I'm worried about, Xbox.
So I think they have a good opportunity to try something new, something outside the box, like how they did with old girl, when she kind of said, "Let's do this," and this
that
is
was
a good,
beautiful, by the way.
yeah,
Perfect.
and that's what we've been saying. And it's almost like she listened to the fans for a change. God forbid you listen to the people who buy your product and what we really want. But it took someone like that to come up and say, "Hey, y'all are fucking up. This is what the fans want. It's like when they heard it from someone in the boardroom, someone new, it made sense. Like it resonated with them to the fact that they listened to her. And they didn't listen to us, but they listened to someone sitting in that table with them to do something. And that, because it was such a success, I think they're going to go forward with that mindset. And I'm interested to see what they can do now, because now they're on their time. There's no E3. They don't have to deal with people. They don't have to deal with handshaking and hugging baby and kissing babies and shit like that. They can just go out there and just put out a product on.
They don't have to go out and Joe Biden everybody, right?
Yeah, right. And weird freaky shit. They can just go out there and just do something and like have time to do it. Like they can stage it, pre-plan it. They can re-record if they need to. Like it's there for them. They have a way to, like, they have the chance to do something right by us because of everything that's going on. So I'm interested to see what they say. The GDC is this week, correct? Or they're streamed up?
Yeah, live stream. It's a game stack.
This week, this week coming.
Yeah,
next week on the 18th.
We'll see what they do there, and I think that'll be a build up of what they're going to do at E3.
People might be able to tune into a live stream. I don't know if it's going to bore you guys because a lot of it's developer type stuff, but I'm going to be watching it, so might as well throw out that streaming now signal. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Hey, Bob, I'm going to pick my daughter from work, so I'll be back in about 10 minutes.
Tell her all we said hi. Tell her that we all said hi. How about that? He's like, yeah, hell no. All right. Let's see here. Do I want to go to Don or K Mega? Let's go to K Mega. Yeah.
Don't forget about me, dude.
No, I really feel.
Don't forget about me, bot.
Who are you again? Who are you though? Who are you though? Yo, K Mega, you heard what I said here. Like I thought, in a perfect world, having the E3 event, Microsoft kind of like knocks it out the park. They're looked at as the crowning jewel, just building up more momentum for when they release the Series X, possibly Lockhart. Do you think now with E3's cancellation that some of that shine, gets a little dirty now? It's not going to be as big. They don't have as big an opportunity when it comes to what they're going to show digitally as opposed to being on stage for the live event, brother.
Well, I mean, it's according how they will do it, because I mean, they can still do like a somewhat stage presence, but it's just be a digital show, or they could work it. I mean, they got the people that can talk about certain aspects of the Series X, and they can have people that can talk about certain parts of the games. They can have more developers coming up and talking about individual games that may be coming out, whatever. They have options to do all different types of things by going digital. I don't think either way, because this is how I look at it. More people watch it than attend E3. So
that is true.
It's not going to. So I don't think it's going to hurt it in any way, case or form.
All the articles, though, brother, from the gaming media out there, when it comes down to it, I think that they put a lot more emphasis on who they feel had like the best showing for basically the mecca of the games industry. You don't think it's going to take any hit like that, man?
No, I actually think that in retrospect, it's what's going to do is going to have to make the journalists, actually do some journalistic work by scrambling, sitting back and doing what they have to do. Because if they come and say
lordsofgaming.net, what?
My man, say it again.
So basically, I mean,
Lords of Gaming, what?
So instead of rubbing elbows and doing all these other things where they're setting, where they're just kind of dictate what they want to once they get into a huddle and do it, there's going to be people that's going to be separated. So they're going to have to do in each individual show. And then, in a way, it's going to dictate. It's going to be dictated by more the public than it is the media. The media will have some sort of influence, but not as much as they did during going at the E3 event. Now, with that being said, I'm listening to most of the people that's talked about it that has not attended E3, and try to kind of give it this Well, I haven't gone. I don't know. E3 is in trouble. Things like that. E3 is not in trouble. I've gone
Dude,
two
yo,
years in
shout
a
out!
row.
I gotta say, shout out to Alana Pierce on Twitter for putting a lot of that shit to rest. Like, yo, she came out and she was like, "You guys have no idea how big this thing is." Then,
Right, like, and again, I know when you brought up when Crispy brought up GDC and PAX, I get it, and if so happened, God forbid, that let's say E3 would never come back, then probably PAX would probably be the next thing that would take over. But there's no way in hell that E3 and the ESA is going to allow E3 to get abolished. You know what I'm saying? Because if they, I mean, listen, United States is the biggest market for video games in the entire world. So that's why everybody flocks to E3 because, as I've stated, as you stated, it's the mecca of gaming. It's not. There is no other place. You can talk about is the attendance all you want to, but when it comes down to where the money is, everybody's going to flock to that place, and that is E3. Also, another thing about E3, why I've stated a million times for content creators and for people out there that are fans of gaming, you have to experience it yourself to understand how impactful E3 is. When you come out here and as me being a content creator, Bot, you're a content creator. Everybody in here is pretty much content creators. When you hear the blah blah blasey blah this that the console war aspect, when you're at E3, all that shit is gone. It is so much of a unity that you can't even understand. Like, I mean, and then when you sit there and you talk to people you meet, what I'm saying, I got the pleasure to meet King David and all the rest of the people from the Iron Lords, Cognito, what I'm saying, the ladies of GWG,
shout out to GWG. Yeah,
what I'm saying, of course, Miss Remy, Mama Sita, so many others, what I'm saying, that's out there. That there's so many lady gamers out there that some people that's listening to this podcast and even maybe all of our podcasts having no idea. There's so many female gamers out there, adults, not kids. There's no kids out here. This is all adult female gamers that deserves that respect and representation. Also, the fact of the bond that me and my brothers at GRG, what I'm saying, 100, 108 Dragons TV, what I'm saying, Bloody Knuckles, all the impact, and then when you all get us meshed together, what I'm saying, to communicate, to talk, what I'm saying, I get to meet Boom, I get to meet Colt, got to meet of course, see Tim Dog, Southbound, Megatron. Like, there's so many important factors of just within the E3 space that can never be replaced by some digital ass show. Never can be replaced. Never can be duplicated or replaced. What the impact of E3 is far more greater than that. And if the day that they decide, if they decide that E3 would go away, it would probably be the saddest day in gaming history, in my opinion, because it is so impactful. It is a beautiful thing to see you're amongst your peers, not amongst kids, or what I'm saying, or there's generational gaps. No, when I see a person like I can't think of his name right now. He was 70 years old. African American gentleman. We sit here, me and 108 Dragons, we ran into him. He was carrying stuff. We helped him carry some stuff, and he was like, "Hey, what are y'all doing?" We told him that we were content creators. He says, "Hey, man, I got a little podcast and do a couple of things here, a couple of things there." We talked with him, and it didn't matter about channel size or anything like that. We took pictures together. We talked. We chopped it up for about an hour, and we grew a bond. And with somebody who was a vet that could go back to even to the 60s, 60s, what I'm saying, to the 60s, man, that's talking about the history of gaming. It's the most beautiful experience that you could ever have if you are a quote unquote true gamer, not just a content creator for money. If you are a true gamer.
Talk about it.
So for So no, what was you gonna say, Cognito?
No, I was just saying you just to expound upon the points you're making. A lot of people also don't realize that from the indie developer scene, there's so much
That was my next
business
point.
behind the scenes and so many pitches that will not get heard because they are so important to these studios. That show is extremely important. So again, you don't know how much of an impact. We know the impact on the big games and AAA stuff, and they should be able to survive and pivot. But a lot of these little developers, a lot of these smaller, developers, they count on these opportunities to get that shine. That's like the difference from something that you may not have heard of that's obscure to getting that light and then making something happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's the sad stories you don't hear about. I know we've got our personal attachment, but there's also a lot of business here that's done as a result of it. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, well, no, and that was the only point. That was another point that I was going to make, and then I think this is the biggest point. Is for the people that come out there that aren't content creators that just want to experience it, and then you get to meet those people, and you would be absolutely surprised of who know you. Like my channel's not big. My K Mega 405 is not a big channel.
We know.
Yeah, then that's fine. But my voice obviously resonates because when I sit here and I run into people, they're like, "You're K Mega 405? What? Word?" Like. And then you get hugged by these people. You talk to them, and then you meet other people that just so many great people like Jazzy Noop and Fonzie and I mean, damn, it's just so many people that you interact with, and they're there for the love of gaming, not for the bullshit. Like 2018 was the revelation for me to understand how this social media aspect of it is full of bullshit. When I'm there standing in a Sea of Thieves line, about to get me a fake tattoo, while I'm talking to some pro PlayStation gamers about Death Stranding, and it's all love. There is nobody, like I said, I've said this story before. Somebody come up there and said, "Oh, Xbox and shit," and then the PlayStation people that were there, because there was a group of them, they dogged that dude out like, "Man, we ain't here for that bullshit." You know what I'm saying? So that to me is like, it brought back. Don has told me this. He says once you get there, your whole aspect and change and all that fuckboy shit, this whole playing games and all this shit. It's not about that. It's about the gaming experience and being unified amongst people that are your peers and that love the same thing that you do. And that's the most important factor to me. So E3, I don't think is going to die, but I do give it. I do think that it actually helps the ESA make the decisions on trying to get the right people in, because since 1/8-bit left, and then like they had to try to gather and get this show together, and you got other people like Jeff Keighley and other people leaving, and then on top of that, Sony leaving, things like that. It actually, I think, it gives them a breath of fresh air just to give them plenty of time to get them adjusted for having E3 next year, which will be bigger and better. And so that's my opinion on it, man. E3 is way more important than what a lot of people suspect, if that has not been there, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I think the reason why people say that is because they think, oh, well, since PlayStation backed out, E3 doesn't matter anymore. And then, like you said, Mega, it's that stupid social media bullshit that people buy into. It's completely ridiculous.
Yo, my mic was muted. I was like, I'm coming to you, Dark. I was actually going right to you.
I knew you were going to come to me.
You kept you rolling,
He's
man.
making excuses.
But no, I definitely appreciate that. And what you're talking about, Dark, right there, that is a fanboy mentality.
It is.
It is console war.
It is.
And we're not about that over here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the thing. You see a few people online talking crap, and that's who do you see the most? You see the majority of those guys. You see them all the time, every single time you go to your feed. Like in my freaking feed, I'm like sitting there. I'm all like, Jesus Christ, dude, just give it up already, man. Just shut.
Yo,
just
brother,
give it up.
I hear you, but like,
It's
dude,
look at me, guys, right?
Dude,
it is
me
very much.
Can I just say something with
go
you
ahead,
saying about this? Because I understand. I do have people on Twitter, kind of like the same names going around. But, like, my whole thing is I'm against console war fanboy drama, period. And the funny thing is, there's other shows I've gone to where it was the direct opposite. I saw in the chat, everybody was just dogging the shit out of the PlayStation platform. And I'm like, thinking to myself, you guys are doing the exact same thing you're getting mad
Yeah.
about on
Yeah, it
social
doesn't-
media. You
True.
see what I'm saying? So
But
instead
it's
of
always the same guys.
instead of pointing out like one or the other, I think we all need to come together and take a stand on the entire issue. You see what I'm saying?
I think a lot of for a lot of these guys, it's their ego, and that's the thing that they need to just leave at the fucking door, because really no one gives a shit at all. Like no one cares. Like nobody gives a crap about your ego, man. Like everybody's just like, okay, especially when you're in a crowd and you're with a group of people are just gonna be like, this dude looks like an idiot right now, literally. So and then at the end of the day, yeah, it's just social media. Yeah, it's just social media. You're hiding behind a keyboard. You're saying whatever the heck you want to say, and that's fine and stuff like that. But once you get to these shows and you start, seeing, enjoying and watching, some of the things that you want to see, all that stuff should just go away at that point, and to really speak on like E3 is not dead. It's not. It's going to continue until I think until the wheels fall off. To be honest.
Right.
Dark. My question was because like the way I was looking at it before E3, was canceled. I was like, man, this is a really kind of like golden opportunity here, because when it comes down to it, if Xbox, Microsoft can really knock it out the park and really like wow, gaming media out there, the gamers that are in attendance, and really be the crowning jewel of this live event that, I think I got the saying the Mecca like from you personally, and I was like, yo, that makes sense. E3 being the Mecca where all these gamers come to share experiences and see what's coming down the road. I think that would have created a lot of momentum. We know Xbox is looking for mindshare right now. It's why they're doing what they're doing. It's why they said what they have said and confirmed what they have confirmed already. And I'm like, I don't think all digital show. I mean, granted, I want to see it. And I think people are hyped for it, but I don't think it'll have that same impact as
It won't.
killing
won't.
it in that live event.
Well,
You know
that's
what I'm
the thing.
saying?
I think right now
won't.
it's okay because of the situation that's going on right
Okay.
now. But I think in the future, yes, we definitely do need, we do need gamers to go out and get some sun, because they pale, they
Oh
pale.
shit!
Wow.
There's some of them that are pale. You know that.
Damn,
You
dog.
know.
Damn.
And
Talking about their vitamin D
we gotta
deficiency,
we
that's
gotta
ruthless.
we gotta get out there. We gotta support these conferences, because a lot of the times it's not really just about standing in line and waiting to play a game or going to see the conferences. It's about the interaction with these gamers that
Yes, sir.
you don't get it when you're sitting behind a computer or you're sitting in front of a camera and talking on a podcast. You just don't get that interaction. You don't get to hang out and actually talk about
And also
stuff
the
that you
fact.
enjoy.
Also,
Wait, is
another
that-
thing another point too is the fact of how how easy it is to talk to developers and CEOs and things like that. Like it's crazy.
Right.
Like Game Fest was amazing for the mere fact that I'm sitting here looking, and I know these people are tired. I'm not. I feel like I shouldn't even be around them because I know how much work and time that they put in. But Phil standing there taking autographs for hours, talking to each and every last one of the people that's standing in line that wants to talk to him. For the I
Because
can't.
he cares. He
That's
cares
what's
about the
like.
fans.
There's this like me and Aaron Greenberg, and for I can't say Kareem's last name. Was it Cowtree or something
Chowdhury.
like? Yeah, Chowdhury. And meeting him, and then him realizing that me and him have the same name. You know what I'm saying? And he's tripping out, and I'm meeting all of these different people. And like he just grabs you, like you're sticking with me. Hey, his name is Kareem from Oklahoma, and I'm from Ohio. I'm from Indiana, and it's crazy. I'm like, what the? And it threw me off because you do not expect to see these people to act this way. You know that there's a little bit of put on because you know what I'm saying, it's part of the show. But then when you really genuinely talk to these people, it's like they really care. Me and my, you know what I'm saying, me and my girl Shannon Loftus, you know what I'm saying, and talking to her, and she's like, oh, I know who you are. And then when Phil tells me, I know who you are, like shit
That's
like
what's
that
up.
just trips me out. Like
That's what's up.
they listen. Even though a lot of people might not think that they do, they listen. I don't know how much that is going on the Sony side, but I'm sure that there's people that listen to them too. But it's more the thing to me is that it's impactful that you not only have all these great people that you get to meet that loves the same thing that you do, but it's also the fact that you get to meet people that have six figures or more that sit there and that act still as humble as they do, and I'm not even talking just about in Microsoft, but in Bethesda, you know what I'm saying, and the people from Nintendo, you get to talk to them, and they seem like, and especially like what Cognito was talking about, the small developer, to get to talk to them, they're so eager to talk and get to know somebody and want their stuff to get out there. It's a, like I said, man, E3 is one. Man, I would shed some fucking tears if E3 would officially go away, because that means
Man.
I wouldn't have the opportunity to see my
Hell
brothers
yeah,
and them
man.
like that
Facts.
in
That's on
that
my
capacity.
bucket
But I would still
list,
got to go
man.
out there and see them. So
That's on
for
my
real,
bucket list, dude. Like
I'm done. I'm done.
I
on
want to go
my
out to
campaign.
Cali and go to E3. Like it's on my bucket list. Like
And I enjoy
don't
Cali.
want
I
it to
wouldn't live
die.
in Cali, but I do like Cali. Cali's dope. Though, so.
But you know, it's just like what you
Hey,
said.
don't
like
talk shit about
you
California, dude.
It's gonna fall into the ocean, brother.
We're gonna fall into the ocean.
that fault line is pretty serious.
Yeah,
though. I'm
it's
just saying.
serious, bro. It's serious.
Honestly, they'll welcome Crispy because he sounds like Satan. So
Yo, we got to hear from the Don. Like, we got to get that developers kind of like ideology in on this topic, man. Don, I think you've heard me say, I repeated it many times. Like, I don't feel like a digital show will have that same impact that if they just kind of like nailed it at like, again, what Mega and I call the mecca of the video game industry. What do you think, brother, in terms of Xbox and what they're going to be showing with their digital show?
I think E3 is definitely in threats. And I hate to be the person that gives that message, but
Alana says you're wrong, okay?
Well, she also doesn't work for a publisher, so I mean,
Shots.
I mean that's the harsh reality.
Shots.
If you look at it from the perspective like Mega, like going to the show and in interaction, like all that stuff doesn't fall on deaf ears. I think that's, but there's always somebody at every publisher that does the math, right? And you love or hate the accounting guy, right? But the accounting guy looks at the numbers and looks at what it's going to output for them. And they don't care about how we feel on this panel or how a particular studio feels. Their job is to say, hey, how can we get the most on our return? And if we spend this much money, what are we going to get back for it? And the harsh reality is, and this is what's scary to me, is everyone's in the same boat. Every major publisher, every major platform provider is on equal footing with the situation right now. And if they all of a sudden don't see a slowdown, and matter of fact, if they see a more net positive from what they invest in and what they get out of it, it does threaten E3. 100%, it does threaten, because
talking numbers, bro.
And without them, without the publishers, the big guys showing up, E3 is nothing. And that's the harsh reality. Like, and EA has kind of been like half in, half out, for multiple different reasons. They
go with their show a day early, right down the street.
Yeah, exactly. But they're in the
well, Hollywood ain't right down the street, but
they're kind of in the vicinity, in the time frame, kind of like they're kind of like, well, can we do our own thing? Is it cheaper? And then they're also like, man, you want to ride that hype wave, but if that hype wave is not there and they can make something work for them, they're going to look at those numbers, and that's a harsh reality, and no one wants to admit it. No one wants to look at it from that perspective. I don't want E3 to go away. I've gone 10 times.
Damn.
I accidentally met Seamus Blackley and I didn't know who he was.
Salute.
I have drawn on Tony Hawk's son's skateboard at E3.
Nice.
I have grand memories of E3, and it's really always been this thing to try to help kick off my career. And ironically, it's YouTube what kicked off my career. But but you know, I've been there and several times over, and you know, and it's what's given me my insight. It's what's allowed me to know what to pursue, where to put my efforts, where to put my energy, and it's for me, it's been invaluable for my career, and it's going to suck to see that go away. And I just don't wish it to go away, but it is under serious threat, and I don't know how the gaming community can really do anything to resolve it, right? Because they're all going to want their consoles, they're all going to want their games, and the only way they may look at it is if the sales are really down. And I'm not, you know, I'll never say, hey, don't buy what you want. I'm going to tell people to buy what they want if they feel like the individual company has earned their dollar. But I do worry about it. I mean, matter of fact, to the point, because I was planning to go to E3 this year, I took a 2 or 3 year break from it. And I was planning to go this year to meet everybody. And now this is not going through. I'm looking at alternatives next year to connect with the community. And,
PAX East, baby. PAX
and,
East.
I am not counting on E3. I'm seriously at this point. I'm not counting
Don,
on it.
To the East Coast, man.
I just want to say this, and Don, I
Don,
respect.
you can sleep on our futon. It's okay.
That's messed up, dude. You're so far away from PAX East. I'm so much closer. I'm just saying.
Brother, but then he can experience my driving up there, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he
No
doesn't
one
want
wants
to
to
experience.
experience that
I've
driving.
seen you play Forza. I'd rather not.
I've seen you play PUBG. I'd rather not.
I don't get into car crashes. I shoot the driver in the head in PUBG.
No.
is what I do.
Yeah,
No, you-
even
you-
if it's his
Rover
own
in
teammate.
No, he trades paint like it's trading cards.
I
You
feel
know,
bad
Don't-
for Evie still to
Brother
this
Cog, don't
day.
listen to him, man. Don't listen. He's
But, I
talking
mean,
tomfoolery right now.
I mean, I guess that's all I really have to say about it. And you know what? And if I'm wrong, I will happily take that L.
Don, I just
wish
want to
it.
say this. I just want to say this. Do you feel that Xbox, Phil Spencer, everybody else takes the value of like shaking people's hands and seeing their reaction, you know, so much more than some other gaming companies? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the interaction that, you know, compares, you know, Xbox continued to do E3 like it was going to happen this year, you know, regardless of health concerns, which is going to supersede anything. And I completely understand that. But I feel like they were going to do that regardless of not having the other big gaming console companies there.
I don't.
They will be right back.
You do have some of the bigger players like Phil and stuff like that interact with people, but you know, most studios like to interact with people, and I know people have been to E3 outside of me, and you know, I know a couple of the people on the panel have been to E3. They'll tell you like the developers like to talk to the community.
Oh, dude, I know that from PAX East a couple years ago, man.
Yeah,
Like,
it's the
developers wouldn't let me leave their booth. I'm like,
they like interacting with you guys. I think what happens from an executive level, and people are going to look at it as me like shielding Sony or anything like that. I think their culture, they look at it a little bit differently. They look at every single word can affect them and hurt them. And so they're really methodical about what that is. But I wouldn't misread that as they don't want to interact with the fans. I don't really think that's the case. I think it's just they don't know who they're, you know, stranger danger, right? Like they don't know, you know, how they're going to take it and that sort of thing.
Stop driving the white van, bro. That's what I'm...
Oh, damn.
But if I'm wrong, and then if it keeps on going, which I hope it does, and you get a chance to go, what you'll notice is there's a difference between the execs and how they communicate with the fans versus the developers. You will see that difference, and it's nothing personal. I think it's just how they look at business, how they look at things, how they look at how social media spreads things around, that sort of thing, and they just don't want to be taken out of context. And I think the higher you're up at the top, the more they feel like they have to lose.
Right.
And I think Phil's very unique in that sense, and I think the culture at Microsoft is very unique, where they're trying to break that mold, and I think that's a good thing. I wish more publishers would take that perspective, because I think what happens is developers and publishers are afraid to talk, because I think the community will take things out of context and then try to think like, hey, they're just trying to do a sleight of hand thing. The reality is they're just trying to talk openly with people, and and that's kind of one of those things, like I think they want to do that so there's not these misunderstandings, and so the conversations you guys have on podcasts are more intelligent, in not short-sighted in any sort of way, because you guys are just, I can't fault people for not having experiences, right?
Mhm.
And I think a lot of misnomenclatures come from that. So I don't know. That's just my take on it. And I wouldn't pin it as against a Sony against a Microsoft thing. I just think culturally their companies are a little bit different, and I would imagine Sony execs would like to interact more, but I think they're just kind of afraid how that will play out. So
Yeah.
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 Go
Just
ahead,
real
guys.
quick, just to double down on this point, is there's some truth there, and the thing is as much as I don't want to hear it, is a reality. I mean, because here's the thing: if we obviously this is going to happen, they're going to have an all digital show and showcase it, right? But my thing is that if they're proven to be successful and they knock it out the park, and it's the same kind of message, and it still has that impact, and then they look at that bottom line, I was like, look how much money we save by not having that presence. You know what I'm saying? And look how
Yep,
much money we
money
save.
talks.
Exactly. Then
Mhm.
that's my fear, because now 2021 E3, well, that board meeting may happen. Well, why do we really need to do this? You know what I'm saying? Well, we can control our own message and do so on and so forth. And that's my fear of a successful event. The last point I'll make is the other reason why I'm kind of hoping that, not that I'm hoping it goes bad, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just concerned about Xbox specifically with the all digital thing, is, to me, this generation, besides the Game Awards moment, they have to prove that they can do their own digital only event well. I am not a fan of Inside Xbox. I've been very vocal about it. There's no disrespect to those guys. I just
It
didn't
is
like the
trash.
flow.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
I'm not.
trash.
I got to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? I've never been a fan of them this
well,
generation with
it,
presentation. With
Yeah,
presentation.
to add to that, right?
Mhm.
Like, they've done really good at E3, but they're inside Xbox. There's a disconnect, right?
Right,
Like,
which is their event that they got to do on their own. You know what I'm saying? That's only digital,
what
right?
What do you
he,
think about the XO event though?
I'm in the middle. It's not terrible, but
Okay, so
again,
It
yeah,
wasn't good.
I'm not
It wasn't
wowed.
great. It wasn't
The-
great.
that-
That
to
was
me,
I
bad.
mean,
to
well,
me, the
they know
first
that they
time
got
I
to
was
wow
wowed.
you. Yeah.
To me, the first time I was wowed was at the Game Awards, which wasn't their event. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
right.
yeah.
I know, I get that. But I got to. This
Go
is my
for it.
thing on that, and
Mhm.
I'm sorry, Don, to cut you off, but
go for it.
it's one of these things to me is I get it, and I totally agree. I don't look at Inside Xbox or PlayStation Play. I look at them as
Right.
informational pieces for gaming. I know
I feel
people
you.
look at them to try to get that little E3 or
Mhm.
or PSX feel or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm not. I'm not. I just want to get the information. But yeah,
Mhm.
you're right. They they do have to have. They got to bring everything. And to me, it is
Mhm.
one of those things where if they don't show improve,
Right.
it's going to hinder them a little bit. And then also to your other factor, which you was talking about with E3,
Mhm.
I think E3 will eventually come back next year, but I
Hope
don't
so.
think E3 this year is up for jeopardy for next year to come. But I do think that next year might be the telling tale, especially if they do hit a home run,
Right.
and if PlayStation hits a home run, and then everybody else hits a home run, and
Mhm.
then if E3 still has the issues that they've had going into this
Yeah,
year.
and
So
then
this
that's the
could be the
thing.
potential. Yeah, next
Mhm.
year is the telling tale, in my opinion.
Well,
Yeah, I agree.
that's the thing, though. People don't know about the issues they say these big publishers have with the ESA, right? Like, they're not privileged to those conversations. But there's been frustrations behind the scenes
Oh,
with
yeah.
with the ESA over the years. So, this is a lot of people they're not looking to strike out because they got a products to sell regardless of what's going on. They're going to have to recover from the lulls of what's going on right now in the world, and so they're going to put all their effort into this. They're not going to. No one's going to half-ass it. Now, I think on the Microsoft front of things, I really think they need to get key fans that they trust. They're not just going to give them yes man answers.
Mhm.
Make them sign some NDAs and then help them out with it.
Yeah.
Have them review what their presentation is before they go live. They need that.
Mhm.
They've needed it for a long time, and I'm willing to always give people the chance, see where they can improve, see where they take it. But it's been over a year now.
Mhm.
They
Thank
need
you.
some key people like pick Phil and Greenberg. You guys pick your top 20. They will be more than happy to sign NDAs. Make it make
Mhm.
that stuff ironclad. Make sure it's this shit is real. If you spill this is
Facts.
and
Facts.
and then you bring them on roughly 4 or 5 days before you're gonna go live with this stuff, and you get their
Mhm.
opinions. And these are not your yes men. These are people that love your
Thank you.
product, but are
Yes.
critical of your
They,
product.
they don't got
And,
that real one in the room that's saying that's not it. That's what I'm trying to talk about. Like
No,
literally.
you're right.
but
But hold on, let's look.
but
Let's
that's
look
what
at
they need.
PlayStation as well, because I see somebody in the
Yeah.
chat,
Mhm.
dual purpose. He made a great point. He's saying Jim Ryan lacks the stage presence,
Mhm.
and he says like Sean Layton. Sean Layton to me was kind of flat as well.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Layton was
PlayStation's going to have
awkward, man. He was awkward.
PlayStation play. But yeah, but Sean Layton was
with his
even
tight
better.
shirt?
Was even better than
Right.
was better though than Ryan.
Mhm.
But I will say this: if PlayStation don't get a person on stage that's on the same
Oh
wavelength
yeah.
as Jack
Facts.
Trenton or
Facts.
Andrew House,
Facts.
they might have a
That's
badass
true.
show too.
Right.
Because Jim Ryan ain't going to do it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Yoshida has been demoted, so
Right.
you know what I'm saying. Unless you know what I'm saying, I don't know what
Right.
who they're
Well,
going to have on stage, but they could be in trouble as well when it comes
Right.
to having a slam dunk
Dunk. That's
show.
why I said
Yeah,
advantage Nintendo earlier because they
yeah,
have the practice of this
exactly.
well,
earlier.
That
And
they do.
they do. There's something that they always do. As much as if people don't like Nintendo, you can't say that they don't know how to galvanize their base in their presentations by that what if moment, oh by the way moment, and then their fans go crazy because it's usually some beloved franchise or thing that they've been waiting for. And I'm waiting for Microsoft to kind of do that. Now, to your defense, Megan, you're right. Like there's a lot of these inside Xbox stuff is informational stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at it on paper, it would sound good. I just feel that their presentation and their pacing, just their pacing
Oh
sometimes
no,
is
you're right. You're
off.
right. Like okay, like the one show. I think everybody was enjoying that show, and
Mhm.
then they completely killed it with the State of Decay 2.
Yo, remember
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like the 40 minutes of that. Like they should
In
have
the
made that
cage.
like they should have let that be something
It was
that
the worst
happens.
show
Yeah,
ever.
like
Oh.
if you're interested in this, watch this after the show, not
well,
do it during the show. In my opinion.
well. To add to this
Mhm.
too, I don't think people also realize people are going to hurt the most right now are the
Mhm.
major media outlets.
Yeah.
This is going to be a big shift.
Well, that's the point I
For,
also made too. Yeah,
yeah,
Mhm.
the
Jeff
big shift for
Keighley's
like
gonna eat though.
you look at look at the traffic at IGN this whole entire
Mhm.
generation, right?
Mhm.
They had like a little bit of peak, and then they had the drama with the beginning of this generation, and every time there was drama, they had these peaks, but it's been continuously going down. They're at a low that they never have been, even in the 360 PS3 generation on overall viewers.
Mhm.
They are declining rapidly, and they're relying on the next generation to hit hard
Yeah.
for them as an outlet. They're relying on, and I hate to say this, they're relying on drama.
Mm.
And if they don't have that drama, and if both platform providers
Teraflop.
doesn't provide that, and they have well rehearsed, and they bring everyone brings their A game, right?
Mhm.
I don't know I don't know if they're going to survive.
Okay,
I
well,
think, and I think that's just going to be a real issue
okay,
for them.
hold on. Check this out as a scenario, right? All right,
What
this is
up,
all
G-Man?
this is all hypothetical, right?
Mhm.
But I seen the goat. That he's considered. I consider him the goat when it comes to
Mhm.
game reviews, just game journalism. Adam
Uh-oh.
Sessler said he
Mm.
was coming out of retirement.
Oh.
Now, what if because we've seen Xbox bring in Morgan Webb, they bring a couple of people from G4.
No, bro.
What? No.
By the
Hold
way.
on. What if they bring the G4 crew with the mighty Adam Sessler on there to help
when it comes
present
to Adam
the show?
Sessler,
Come on, man.
I would rather him stay independent and report on things as they're shown.
No, I'm just talking about for the E3 for Xbox E3 show.
But then he's always going to have that moniker over his head of that Xbox guy. Where I feel like with Adam,
no. He's well respected. Even
cannot finish. Cannot finish.
He's making nostalgia hurt right now. Come on, Bob.
That's my soul.
Oh my God.
Go ahead.
With the state of big gaming news and what has gone on this generation, I feel like him coming out of retirement, it would be good for him to stay neutral in the eyes of everybody. All right, and report on the gaming news the way it's supposed to be reported on. All right.
Yeah, I would agree.
That back.
He would benefit more from doing that. But here's the thing,
host
though.
the show. Hold on. Okay, wait. Okay, so you're telling me Jeff Keighley that tries to make this quote unquote I'm neutral, but we all know that he's going to be a part of whatever Sony's got going on.
All right.
Coming in the future.
No, he's going to be a part of whatever Kojima's going to be a part of.
Well, true.
Microsoft hid that.
But you're going to tell me,
trailer and the series.
You're going to tell me,
Just saying
that if Xbox brings the G4 set back to just present their show, that now Adam Sessler and everybody from the G4 crew is going to be looked at as, they're Xbox people.
I'd rather watch.
What?
I'd rather watch
nobody apparently.
Hey.
That's what Doug says on his first date with anybody, by the way. It's just I'd rather watch.
That's why you got me like
Flag
that?
on the field.
It's funny because it's true.
I guess he's getting me back for saying that he doesn't his balls hasn't dropped yet.
Right.
I don't know why you're focused on that, man.
Okay, so what would you? We didn't get to hear what you said, Dart. We didn't get to hear what you said. Would you say that again, please?
I'm not gonna say it again.
Okay. It was disrespectful. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I'm just saying for that point. Hey, just look at it from that way, because Adam Sessler said he wants to come out of retirement. I think that if you got those people that can just, be host for the show, not so much, Phil comes out, do his thing, everybody else do their thing, but you already have, you have the establishment, and then you have the establishment of people who are well familiar with the game, that have been paying attention to gaming and watch their shows. People will know exactly who those people are, and then that would be dope. I don't know, Rage. You gotta agree with me, Rage. You gotta agree with me.
K-Mega talking with his heart right now, not his mind.
I am. I'm talking about Harvest. Adam Sessler, we did.
I have to agree with K-Meg. I'm sorry. This is old
K-Mega can't let old love
mentality.
die, man.
No,
Dude, I used to watch C4 TV back to end,
like an old girlfriend.
every single game they
Wow,
showed.
Holy.
Nah, like I said, K-Mega, he is a passionate gamer, and sometimes, he talks with his heart, which is nothing wrong with that. But I feel like Adam, there's something that needs to be done with Adam. I think Adam knows what that is, which is why he came out of retirement. I can't wait to see what he has to offer. But I feel like he should stay in that middle ground and just talk about the gaming news and stuff that's coming down the pipeline.
He should stay retired.
That's
Damn.
tough.
So you're
how
telling
come my
me
view count just got slashed in half? What happened?
I know. So how is it? Are you? Really, bro? Are you really going to tell us that a person that has the integrity, he came out in the worst time ever when Xbox was at his pinnacle of getting destroyed, and just gave out the facts and he got so much hate for bringing out the facts about Forza 5, Rise, and other Xbox games. And then you know what I'm saying? Like, he is the most neutral that you can get. Like, that is the person that Xbox needs on their camp to sit there and to not only be a part of telling them what they did right, what they did
Mega,
wrong about certain
you
things.
don't have
Man,
to
look,
convince
he's
me. You don't have to convince me to have
perfect.
Adam Sessler come out of retirement. You got to convince
Come
Adam
back.
Sessler.
Xbox division, if you are listening, my brother Rukari
Bring him back.
He needs a bigger role. Yo,
Rukari
hand
and
him
Adam
the keys,
Sessler.
brother.
Yeah, word,
Hand
word.
him the keys.
Rukari, Adam Sessler, and then you bring Showbot,
Yo,
or
Cognito,
you bring
he won't let it go, man.
one of the
I know,
other,
he
one of the
riding.
other chick, the blonde with the half shaved head, or the
Your
other
heart's
blonde from
too.
Europe.
Your
Bring
heart's
them.
too in it. Your heart's too in it, Mega.
It is. I love it. I love Adam Sessler. I love you, bro. Man crush. I love
guys.
you.
Did you just say that you want Boy Baloo?
Yo, guys, on that note, man, we are a little past 9:30. We definitely did go over. Yo, guys, I think it's about time to wind the show down. We had some excellent conversation. Huge shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done it yet, slap that thumbs up button. We had two special guests. The realms collided tonight for a couple hours for you guys, the gamers out there. But yo, it is that time of the night. So like a 40-year-old with a comb over, we gotta get those plugs in. And I am gonna start. I am gonna start with my my newly found favorite reviewer. Guys, again, if you haven't checked it out, in the description below is a review for Ori and the Will-O-the-Wisps. And if you want a review that has that gaming passion in it, where you can really feel what the reviewer is saying, you need to click that link. You need to check it out. You need to share it on social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatnot, and let people know this is how you do a game review. My brother Rage, it was absolute pleasure having you on today, man.
Thank you.
I had an absolute blast. Hopefully you decide you're going to come on again, because I will be calling on you, brother. I want to hear more of your opinions. But now you got to do what everybody does. You got to let them know where they can find you. Talk about lordsofgaming.net and of course on Twitter, where people can go and talk games, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for all the love. I had a blast being on tonight, guys. Thank you very much for having me on. It was so much fun. You can find all my stuff over at lordsofgaming.net. You can find me on Twitter at RageVirus_X. You can also find me on the Gaming Perspective podcast with my co-hosts Nicholas Downey, Samuel Tolbert, and Eric Jackson. And we always go on the weekends, usually in the evenings between 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern. So find me there.
Nice, brother. Somebody I've been talking to for a long time, man. I've seen the Iron Lords podcast grow from a single game podcast to talking about just the gaming news in general, and putting that entertainment there with that common sense. I love to see like how much that show has grown, and brother, you know, we've been talking for a long time. It's always good to have you on, and I will be calling you on again, brother. I love talking games with you. You're a professional. You know what to do now. You gotta let the people know, man.
Thanks. First of all, Bob, thank you for having me. It's been a minute. Always enjoy the podcast. The next realm, you know what I'm saying? Get the jokes in with Chris B, Dark, Mega, you know what I'm saying? The Dawn dropping some bombs today too. Predator, what's up? But yeah, this was a lot of fun, man. Thanks for having me. You already know, at Lord Cognito on Twitter. Iron Lord Podcast every Sunday is the Lord's Day, 1 p.m. Eastern. Please check me out tomorrow. We also have a boy, Boomstick XL, as well as maybe some special guests. And thanks to the community. I just want to shout the community out, of course, for my brother I Dizzy. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he's going through cancer right now. He has a beautiful article up on lordsofgaming.net right now, which is gaming with cancer. And if you don't read anything on the site, you know what I'm saying? Besides Rage's amazing, you know what I'm saying, Ori2 review. Please.
Nah, man, Dizzy's article, you gotta go check that out.
Article, man. you might not be a human if you don't shed a tear in a couple of those paragraphs because he poured his heart out. For real, man. So salute to him. Salute to Mikey Bar, everyone that came through to do the little charity stream that we did. It was very important. It's good to see the community do some positive things. And shout out to my brother Rage, man. The newest addition to LordsOfGaming.net, man. The boy puts his passion, his soul in his writing. I'm so honored to have him part of what we're doing. And salute to the whole LordsOfGaming.net team. So thanks again, Xbot, for having me in the next round. We will do this again. You already know.
Nice, brother.
Thank you, buddy.
Nice. And huge shout out to our brother iDizzy. He's another person I have known for absolute years. I'm talking like back to the Facebook gaming groups and stuff like that. Like when we first started. And the funny thing is, when we first met each other, we did not like each other.
That's always a Dizzy story. Everyone says that.
It took my brother Anchorman. Shout out to Anchorman V, who kind of came in.
Oh yeah, shout out to Anchorman, man.
Anchorman, yep.
And after that, man, it's just a huge amount of love and respect for this guy. Like everything that he goes through. And trust me, I know I got presented with a lot of the things that he was going through. And when I was diagnosed with cancer, I cannot even hold a candle. Like so many other people go through so much more than I did, and there is nothing but love and respect to that gamer, that brother, man. We are all here for you, brother. That's all I want to say on that. Moving down the list, let's get to the Don. Yo, Don, dropping some of your opinions on there. A couple of little bits of humor, a couple jokes. Pretty much usual for the Don. Don, let people know about your mixer. You seem to be addicted to streaming right now. And let them know where they can go talk games with you, brother.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's a hard one to follow up on. Hopefully he's doing well. And as I get it set up, I'll probably set up does he have a link to where people can donate and stuff like that for his cause?
Yeah. We'll get that. I'll get that. It's all in the website as well, but I'll get that to you.
Okay, yeah. If you can get that to me in a story, then I'll make sure that's on rotation in the chat tomorrow when I stream. So, nice. but tonight, too short notice, so I can't get it up and going tonight. But I will be streaming.
That's right. You can't get it up and going.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. He's just talking about podcasting. He's just talking about his Flintstone vitamins.
Be careful. Dark only likes to watch. Remember that, yo.
Come on. Speaking of watching, I will be streaming in the next 20 minutes or so after the podcast. You guys will see me at least playing some Sea of Thieves. We'll see if K Mega is afraid or he'll join, and we'll go from there. So
he's always afraid.
Nice. And let's go to our brother, the Angry Otter. Dark Optimus has graced us with his presence, but dude, I think you have to go back out there and save the world. Look what happens when you show up on next podcast. You take a day off or something like that, and the world goes crazy, man. But why don't you let people know where they can go to talk games with you, bro?
Well, first off, what I was gonna say was, I'd rather watch a slow-mo clip, close-up of Larry Herb putting on his white gloves than watch Adam Sessler.
Damn.
All I heard is I'd rather watch slow-mo, yo. Shout out to slow-mo backslap.
Shout out to slow-mo.
No, I'd rather. Oh, come on, man. You heard
that. You paused. That's all on you, man.
Woo.
Did it pause? Did it?
Yeah, you paused. You paused hard on that one.
I said I'd rather watch a slow-mo clip of Larry Herb putting on his white glove than watch Adam Sessler.
Oh, God.
Period. But yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at Dark Optimus. You can also find me on Xbox Live and PlayStation at the same name. And it's always a pleasure to be on the podcast, man.
Well, brother, you're always a part of the family. You used to be here every week, but for some rhyme or reason,
I might start being here a lot more because of the freaking the situation that's going on.
Dark. Whenever I go live with anything, man, thank you for reminding me because a lot of people are staying home. Dude, I'm not him, okay? I'm not him. Yeah. But dude, whenever I go
Mega
live, man,
took that whole time. That whole
Is
silence.
that your
you notice
voice?
that he was silent for like 10
He was
minutes
looking for it,
to
yo.
find that damn
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, exactly.
I'm bringing it back, man.
All right, yo, let Predator
never
come
left.
in and do his sign off, get his plugs in, because we already know for like 45 minutes he's been waiting for this show to end. So Predator, why don't you let people know where they can go to talk games with you, bro?
Predator_H2S pretty much everywhere. Shout out to the panel members today. And side note, I like how Otter just talks through the sounds now that K-Mag has put on.
Right? I'm just like, you know what? Fuck Mega.
He just stop and get onto him and they go back and forth a little. He just talks through it now. I love it.
That's called maturity right there, brother.
Right.
Grown ass
Called-
Otter.
Breaking through the sounds.
Yo. All right, next on the list, my brother Crispy, which, you know, people who watch the show, you know, this man is not afraid to share his opinion, even if nobody on the panel agrees with him. Brother, it is always good to have you on the show every week, dropping that hashtag Crispy Truth. Why don't you let people know where they can go to talk games with you, brother? And are you gonna stream Ori and the Will of the Wisps as you're playing it with your girl? We need to know, man.
It might happen, actually. That's truth. But I have to say, Lord Cognito,
Yo.
Rage, the bow is going. Like, it has been a pleasure. You guys have great opinions. Rage, you made me download the game. So now my girl's obsessed. And
That's my pleasure. That's my job.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody hasn't checked out his review, my God, it is perfect. And you know what? You call out all the things he had problems with, and you call out how they fixed it. So I enjoy that. But in the end, it's at Crispy Bomb on Twitter. And you can find me on Next Podcast Saturday nights and Retro Renegades Tuesday nights and wherever else I show up at.
Shout out to Graphic
That's
Guy.
how I roll.
Yeah, hell yeah.
XboxGameAbix.com, mother trucker.
Woo! Yo,
about
I gotta say, my brother Enrique from I'm like Enrique because I called him the wrong name for like years. Yo, dude.
Yeah, because you can't
Ric
spell
Flair
Enrique.
woo
That's why.
Is incredibly contagious. I gotta put it out there, guys.
Yeah.
That woo is not my own. All right, but hanging
it's
around
woo!
and talking to my
That
brother
was actually
Brat,
a pretty good imitation of Enrique.
yeah. Like, you have got me doing that. I do
That
that
was
in
Satan, though.
I do that in my house now, talking to the kids and stuff like that. It's all your
Did you do your
fault,
homework?
Enrique.
Woo!
Woo!
Wait, he lays the punishment down and then he finishes off with that.
Oh man. Yo, shout out to Enrique, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. Our brothers out there doing their thing. K Mega bringing that heart, showing that passion tonight. You know, everybody in the chat, everybody on the panel loves when you go in emotionally about topics, man. And you did it tonight again, my brother. Let people know about GRG every Friday, your YouTube channel, and where they can go to talk games, bro.
No doubt. And the only time that I go woo, or anything that goes woo in this house is when the old lady has gotten that pants off, dance off ass.
Oh,
So anyway, regardless of that, now,
He went there.
so no, want to give a big shout out to the guests.
I think we've heard him do woo a couple times on this podcast.
Yeah, but that's because I mean,
I wonder if
I'm
K
saying,
Mega's there when she's going woo.
listen to that. Listen to that. They don't call me
Changing the
AKA
name to the Left Turn Podcast starting next week.
That's exactly what they need to do next week. But anyway, thanks for the guests to coming on and jumping on the show. As you know, man, I've been knowing this fool Xbot for ever.
Yeah.
Golly.
It's been a long time, man.
It's been a long time. It's been a real long time,
One of the
man.
longest running podcasts in this community, by the way.
Actually, it is right. And then kind of like the spinoff which is kind of like GRG, because if it wasn't for people like B Shadows or for Xbox 448, or like when you brought up the name Anchorman V, who gave me the suggestion to do my own podcast,
thanks.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wouldn't be doing what I was doing with GRG. And so, listen, you know what? I know that Lemon and King David be getting this New York bullshit going on, but hey, man, listen, we got to definitely do a collabo, man. We got to definitely do something, man. You know what I'm saying? Respect.
Oh damn! I'm about to get involved with them. Call it the tri-state area. You know what I'm saying?
I mean that's all good, man. But you know what I'm saying? This being honest. I mean, being not honest, but being legit with what I'm going to say is that look, man. I respect what you guys is doing because as brothers, doing it the right way, not doing it the ignorant way, not doing it outside of anything else. That's kind of what the thing that I've learned from when I've jumped into this and then now evolved into doing something else. What we have evolved, and even though it's all about having fun and you know and just being ourselves, but it's also about letting people know that podcasts and when you come in and the people of color, they're not perceived by everybody else outside of who we are. You know, we're doing more for the community in the right way than it is the other way. So I commend what you're doing over there at the Iron Lords and what y'all doing out that way. Check out the GRG podcast every Friday night, 8:30 Friday. And man, big shout out to all my people out there, Operation Op, Bloody, 100, you know what I'm saying, Live Wire, our new member PK Live, and then of course 108 Dragons TV, and then again everybody else
MVP
out there.
MVP of the show. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Lemon, whatever. Anyway, but much love to everybody that's doing it, and yeah, your article was fantastic, Rage. I got finished. I was reading it as well while everybody was going through this. And Pred, you still suck, even though you beat the game. You beat Ori.
I was gonna say, Mega's been kissing ass a lot tonight.
Never come back and done. We're about to get up on. We're about to set sail tonight on the Republican while I'm wearing my Obama shirt or my SSS Hillary shirt.
Don,
we're about to get in here.
Hey, I'll make sure it has that purple rain tint that you always like.
I love the purple rain. We got to be the purple rain tint. So let's go.
Don, check this out. Be careful. Don't turn your back on K Mega. He will Joe Biden you. I'm just saying, man. Watch out. Watch out, bro.
Hey, man. You better pray to God. You better pray to God that Joe Biden is the president, not who we got. So let's not be crazy. So anyway, but other than that, let's get it to it. But man, thank everybody for listening to us, man. It was a great show.
I had an absolute blast, man. It was definitely a lot of fun. Yo, guys, it is Saturday night. The gamers got a game. We got to get those controllers in our hands. So, yo, again, huge shout out to the chat, everybody who checked out the show live, and huge shout out to everybody who supports the channel afterwards as well. Yo, we get a lot of views and stuff. A lot of people come in and check out the show. You know, Monday, Tuesday, stuff like that. So huge shout out to you guys. You guys are the reason why we do what we do. You encourage us to do more, to be better every single episode. It's all because of you guys. But like I said, yo, I'm gonna end the show the way I do every week. We will see you guys next Saturday for the next podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody. No tomfoolery, now? No? Nothing? Oh, peace. We're out.